Chapter 3163. The whole book. Luo Xiong's father didn't say anything more. He just waved his hand and coughed. Shanmei, listen to your uncle's advice. Some things that aren't yours will never be yours. He may not be Qingqin's or someone else's, but he won't be yours. Qin Shanmei was stunned. When Luo Xiong said this sentence, it seemed to echo her heart. In fact, she understood the general principles, but she just couldn't stop herself from getting close to him and not liking him. She couldn't even control her hostility to Luo Qingqin. Lu Lingye's villa. Since Lu Lingye had already been cast as the male lead of Styx, Misty told him that this might be his last chance in the entertainment industry. If he failed to act in a role this time, the company might not give him any resources in the future. Good girl, you go to rest. Lu Lingye glanced at the time and said to Luo Qingqin, I'll practice the rest by myself. I'd better stay with you. Luo Qingqin thought for a while and said, Sisterly made it very clear that this is your last chance. And Director Wang is so anxious that he wants to join the cast the day after tomorrow. If you don't even understand the script, I'm afraid you'll be criticized again. The entertainment industry was really a terrible place. Every place was full of danger and conspiracy. Compared to the harem in ancient times, this kind of social circle was really better. I know, although Lu Lingye's tone was light, it could be seen from his expression that he was worried. So, we should make sure that there's no Qingqin. Lu Lingye didn't wait for her to finish her words and interrupted her. Don't join the cast with me this time. Have a good rest at home. The cast could be said to be an unknown world in the entertainment industry. Some people were lucky enough to meet a good cast, and the atmosphere would be happy. But if they were unlucky, they might meet a cast like God of Light, which was full of deception everywhere. In his eyes, his little girl shouldn't go to such an environment. She should live a comfortable life at home. It was better to let him face those unbearable worlds alone. Why? Luo Qingqin didn't wait for Lu Lingye to tell her the reason and directly rejected me. I don't want it. Be obedient. No. Lu Lingye frowned. Didn't you say that the wormhole is very important to you? Then you stay and watch it. The wormhole is a medium. It appeared here because of you. Luo Qingqin looked at him and said excitedly, It's very important to us, and it's also very important to you. Don't you want to go back to your own planet? Silence, silence, silence. There was silence in the air. Perhaps it was because her tone was a little too heavy, or perhaps Lu Lingye hadn't thought of what to say to her yet. After a few seconds of silence, he suddenly nodded. His deep eyes emitted a faint light as he looked at her seriously and said, No matter which planet it is, I just want to live in a world where you are. Wherever Luo Qingqin went, he also wanted to go. So it didn't matter to him whether he could go back to his original planet or not. Lu Lingye, listening to him speak so seriously, Luo Qingqin couldn't help but feel her eyes turn slightly red. Maybe she never really understood what he wanted, whether it was work or life. Chapter 3164. The entire book, that's why. Don't let me worry about you. Lu Lingye smiled gently and touched her face. Go and rest. Okay. Luo Qingqin nodded. I won't go. I don't want you to worry. Good girl. After a sleepless night, she still couldn't let go of him. Although she promised not to go, she still secretly followed him. However, she felt more at ease after going. The filming environment for Pluto was completely different. Director Wang was a new director with an eccentric temperament. He had stricter requirements for the actors. Since they had joined the cast, they were there to work, not to entertain themselves. Therefore, he had stricter requirements for the actors. For example, they couldn't bring an assistant. For example, they couldn't ask for leave. For example, they couldn't be late. Lu Lingye secretly sent her a message to tell her that the other actors had been sent back with their assistants. The director even praised him because he didn't bring an assistant with him. Luo Qingqin secretly observed for more than 3 months and found that this cast was somewhat different. Other than Lu Lingye, who was somewhat famous, the rest of the actors were all C-listers. The more they were like this, the more they would study their acting skills. They wouldn't spend all their time thinking about creating a couple and showing off their characters. This would increase their popularity and the public's impression of them. However, Luo Qingshun felt that one of them was a little strange. It was the character who played the role of Demon Lord Jia Luo in Styx, Zhang Duo. Zhang Duo was a very young actress. According to Luo Qingshun's observation, she played the role of Demon Lord Jia Luo very well. However, she often made mistakes in scenes that required a lot of manpower and resources. Styx was a small cast. Although it was a TV series adapted from a popular IP, due to budget issues, they didn't waste too much money on the selection of actors so that the special effects wouldn't look too shabby. However, if there were frequent mistakes in scenes that required special effects, it would be easy to waste the rental fees and everyone's time. Luo Qingshun wanted to stay for a few more days to investigate this Zhang Duo. However, Luo Qingmu's phone call left her at a loss. "Qingshun, we've recovered our energy," Luo Qingmu said. "It's probably because the wormhole was discovered. The sealed energy has been released." Logically speaking, after hearing this news, she didn't know whether she should be happy or worried. Unlocking the seal meant that they could return to their original country, but, according to the quest shown on the bronze mirror, her quest should be completed in this world. "Brother, have all of you recovered?" "Yes, I got it. I'll come back now." As the filming location was quite far away from City A, it took her some time to go back and forth. When she got home, it was already 11 p.m. Father Luo looked at her and said, "Try the energy chant and see if your energy has recovered." Luo Qingshun gently frowned and began to recall the original owner's energy chant. The original owner's original energy should be fire. She closed her eyes and activated the chant. A ball of flame ignited in her hand. As expected, she had also recovered. Since everyone has recovered their energy, shouldn't we bring Si Yejuan back? Chen Shanmei actually calmed herself down and looked at Luo Qingshun's family. After all, the king must be very worried about the prince's safety and misses him a lot. Chapter 3165. The whole book. Chen Shanmei was smart. She knew that she couldn't use force, so she used another method to make it impossible for others to refute her. But it wasn't impossible to refute her. "We have indeed recovered our energy, but..." Luo Qingshun narrowed her cold eyes and her lips curled into a faint cold smile. "Lu Ling, you didn't. If he really is the CE you speak of, you should be clear on the consequences of someone without energy going through a wormhole." Actually, she was very sure that Lu Lingye was Moonsoul CE, but she didn't want to tell Chen Shanmei about it before he recovered his memories and powers. After all, she didn't like her either. Luo Qingshun knew that she wasn't someone who would resign herself to adversity. Moreover, she put on a good person face but kept doing things that made others uncomfortable. She really didn't like her. Call him back and tell him to activate the chant. If he can... In the next second, Luo Qingshun quickly stopped Chen Shanmei because she couldn't bear to listen to such forcing words. "Chen Shanmei, firstly, I'm not your subordinate. If you want him to come back, you can call him yourself. Secondly, if you ask someone with no memories to activate the chant, how can he recall it? Or do you know what the chant is for Moonsoul's prince? You..." Chen Shanmei bit her lips. "You just don't want Si Jun to come back. You don't want him to recover his memories." Luo Qingshun sneered. "Why wouldn't I want him to recover his memories? Because after he recovers his memories, he won't be like this. He won't be gentle with you and won't like you." Chen Shanmei stared at her with wide eyes. "Because you're afraid that he'll recover his memories, so you don't want him to. So you're stopping me." "Ha ha ha." Luo Qingshun forced a smile and said, Chen Shanmei, I don't know if Lu Lingye will still like me after he recovers his memories. But I know one thing for sure. Whether he recovers his memories or not, he will not like you. He didn't like you even though you were in Moonsoul for so long. He won't like you in the future." Qingshun. Luo Qingmu's heart ached when she saw Chen Shanmei's pale face. She turned to look at Luo Qingshun and said, "Stop talking. Brother, there are some things that I think it's better to make clear." This time, Luo Qingshun did not stop because of Luo Qingmu. She smiled coldly and continued, "You don't even know what he wants or likes. You only know how to say that you like him every day, but you never understand him. This kind of love will only make him feel irritated. You. Also, I personally hate people like you. Luo Qingshun did not give her any chance to refute. She turned around and walked up to her room. Ever since she entered the house, her phone had been vibrating nonstop. However, she could not pick up the phone because of the confrontation between the two parties. She took out her phone from her pocket and looked at it. It was Sisterly. She didn't know why, but when she came back from the set, she saw Sisterly calling her. She felt very uneasy. Hello, Sisterly. Something happened. The investor of Dark Knight wants to withdraw his investment. Chapter 3166. Boss, I'll protect you. 50 why? Luo Qingshun was shocked. Her hand that was holding the phone suddenly trembled. Come to the office first. I've already informed Lu Lingye to come back. Okay. Luo Qingshun frowned slightly and said, don't do anything rash. There's a problem with Lu Lingye's new movie. I'll go to the office to resolve it. Is that important? Qin Shanmei frowned and said, as long as we bring Prince Sai back to Moon's Soul, everything will be over. What movie, what male lead, what entertainment industry? I don't think it's important anymore. It's not important? Luo Qingshun looked at Qin Shanmei coldly. Her eyes shone faintly. It was not a kind of indifference, but a kind of mockery. What do you mean by that? Isn't the most important thing for Sai now to recover his energy? Recover his energy? Luo Qingshun shrugged. As she walked towards the door, she looked at her and said, you don't even know what he wants the most, but you keep saying that you like him. Don't you think it's very funny? There was an awkward atmosphere in the air. Qin Shanmei wanted to refute, but she did not know what to say. Acting? Was it really that important to him? Could it be that she really did not understand what he wanted? Qin Shanmei's heart was a little flustered. She knew that she had changed recently, and she had changed a lot. Love could make a person jealous, and even crazy. No matter how unwilling she was to admit it, she had to admit that she was jealous of Luo Qingshun. At the same time, she was deeply envious of her. Luo Qingmu looked at Luo Qingshun's back view and suddenly felt that she had let her sister down. He had doted on his younger sister since they were young, but ever since Qin Shanmei appeared, he had spent almost all his energy on Qin Shanmei. Even this time, when they were in a love triangle, he still reluctantly spoke up for Qin Shanmei. He seemed to have not considered that his sister might be sad too. Luo Qingmu did not know if it was because of her conscience or something else, but she raised her eyebrows and said, let's wait for Qingshan to come back first. What did you say? Qin Shanmei's heart skipped a beat. She had an indescribable and uncomfortable feeling. She bit her lips and said, but if you want to go back, you can go back by yourself. Luo Qingmu clenched his fist lightly. In order not to look into Qin Shanmei's eyes, he looked away slowly and said, I want to wait for my sister. Luo Qingmu. Qin Shanmei sucked in a breath of cold air. At that moment, she felt betrayed by the whole world. It was as if there was something that belonged to her from the very beginning. But when things suddenly changed one day, she simply couldn't accept it. Just like Luo Qingmu's attitude towards her now, son, rest well. When Father Luo heard Luo Qingmu's words, he was very pleased. He patted her and said, going through a wormhole is an extremely dangerous thing. You must adjust your condition. Got it, Dad? Yes. Father Luo nodded, ignored Qin Shanmei, and went upstairs directly. As an elder, he had never liked Qin Shanmei. It was probably because he thought that his son was very outstanding, but he was treated unfairly. As a father, he loved his son, so he could not have a good impression of Qin Shanmei. End of chapter. Chapter 3167. Boss, I'll protect you. 51, Star Company. Due to the traffic jam on the road, Luo Qingshun arrived, and Lu Lingye was already there. I'll make it short. Elder Sister Li sighed deeply and said, you can't blame Director Wong for this. If you want to blame someone, you should blame me. Elder Sister Li, don't say that. Lu Lingye hurriedly said, it's all thanks to you that I am where I am today. Sigh, there's something wrong with that Zhang Duo who's playing Jia Luo. Sister Li frowned and said, we later found out that he and Li Xiaoyu are in the same company. This time, He went there to cause trouble and waste the crew's manpower and material resources so that Styx can't be filmed normally. Now that we've found the culprit, can't we discuss it with the investors? Luo Qingchen frowned and bit her lips. We only have the last part of the battle to shoot. Director Wang is under a lot of pressure too. Sisterly sighed deeply and said, even if we go bankrupt, it's meaningless. The cost of post-production special effects is not enough. If we produce special effect that cost 50 cents, it will only make God of Light, which was released at the same time, lose out. Luo Qingchen and Lu Lingye fell into silence. Sister Li's analysis was rational, and there was nothing wrong with it. If it was broadcasted for the sake of being broadcasted, and the visual experience brought to the audience was only 50 cents worth of special effects, then it would be meaningless. After a while, Luo Qingchen looked up at Sister Li and asked, so, Director Wang has decided to give up? Director Wang has already left the country. Sister Li said earnestly. He said that he was lacking in many areas and wanted to further his studies. He's almost done editing Styx. It's still possible to release it in the form of a small movie, but it definitely won't be able to be produced in big theaters. After all, how could a movie without an ending be released in theaters? It's all my fault. Lu Lingye clenched his right hand into a fist as a cold aura emanated from his body. Luo Qingchen was slightly startled. She had a strange feeling that it seemed to be resonating with the same kind of energy in her body. Zero Night, you should rest for a while. Elder Sister Li said awkwardly. Although saying this will make you feel bad, Elder Sister Li will definitely think of a way to help you make a comeback. Sister Li, I don't blame you. Lu Lingye frowned and said, it's because I'm not strong enough. No matter what opportunities you give me, it's useless. From God of Light to Legend of the Phoenix Mountain to now Styx, you've given me so many chances, but I've always messed up. Boss, this isn't your problem. Luo Qingchen narrowed her eyes and pursed her lips. It's because there are too many narrow-minded people in this circle. You can't hide forever, no. In the next second he roared, that's my problem. Lu Lingye suddenly raised her voice, which startled Luo Qingchen and Elder Sister Li. He was probably really angry, or perhaps he was just feeling helpless. Sister Li, I'll take the boss back first. Luo Qingchen suddenly had an idea. She quickly got up and said, Director Wang will stay and send me the edited film. Are you going to present this movie in fragments? Elder Sister Li nodded and said, that's good. At least the audience can see the hard work you've put in, even if it's just fragments. No, Luo Qingchen's clear eyes flashed with a firm look. I plan to finish the ending. End of this chapter. Chapter 3168. Boss, I'll protect you. 2 halves. Ending? Sister Li frowned. But the special effects. Sister Li, don't worry. Luo Qingchen's eyebrows trembled. I won't let those cheap special effects scenes appear. I just want to replace Zhang Duo's role in the final battle. Of course. Sister Li nodded. Director Wang has already deleted all the scenes of people who betray the crew. It's just that there's no one to replace them. I have a candidate in mind. Luo Qingchen pursed her lips. Sister Li, as long as you help me find someone I can work with, I'll definitely let Styx blossom in its original glory. In fact, she wasn't completely confident, but she didn't want Lu Lingye to feel sad. She could vaguely feel that the energy in Lu Lingye's body was constantly recovering. If he activated the energy chant, he should be able to recover the energy that belonged to him. Then what about his memories? Would he be able to recover his original memories as well? Currently, his favorability towards her was stuck at 90%. Was it because he couldn't recover Si Ye's memories? On the way back, Lu Lingye finally asked his doubts. Qingchen, what method do you have to film the final battle? Lu Lingye frowned. Don't beg anyone. I don't want you to go. Acting was important to him, but she was more important to him. The reason why he was angry was because he felt that Styx should have been very successful. But because of him, it implicated others. During the 3 months on the set, everyone sacrificed a lot for this movie. Although Director Wang was eccentric and strict, he didn't even allow any artiste to have an assistant. But he was the one who suffered the most. Most of the time, he ate 3 meals a day and even slept on the set. But in the end, The result was so disappointing. Fool, do I look like someone who would beg someone? Luo Qingxin's lips curled up. Besides, even if I want to beg someone, someone has to do it for me. We're now a hot potato in the entertainment industry. Everyone can't wait to avoid it. Then what method do you want to use? Lu Lingye's gloomy eyes suddenly lit up. Can I help? Boss. Luo Qingxin looked at him seriously with a shallow smile. You're the lead, okay? As soon as she finished speaking, she stepped on the accelerator and sped towards the villa. Although the development of the story was not satisfactory to a certain extent, it seemed to be developing in the same direction. In the Luo family's villa. When Lu Lingye saw Luo Qingxin's house, she was stunned. He had always thought that her family was just a very ordinary family, but he didn't expect them to be so impressive. He knew about this villa. It was the most expensive piece of land in a city. It had once been valued at hundreds of millions, but the owner of the villa was not moved at all. It turned out that the owner of the villa was the little girl's father. Come in, take the boss to meet the parents. Luo Qingxin chuckled, with a faint smile in her eyes. But Lu Lingye was stunned. He looked at her with some panic and said, I didn't even bring a gift. What should I do? Will your parents like it? Lu Lingye, let me tell you a secret. Luo Qingxin didn't call him boss this time, but called him by his name. End of chapter. Chapter 3169. Boss, I'm here to protect you. 3/3. What secret? Lu Lingye was a little curious. Her eyes shone with a faint light. Luo Qingxin pursed her lips and said, Actually, our family came to this space-time dimension to look for you. Look for me? Didn't I tell you that you're the missing prince of Lunar Soul Planet? Luo Qingxin looked into his eyes and said, I'm guessing that you were the hero who saved the damsel in distress. That's why Qinshanmei likes you so much. Although it was a joke, Luo Qingxin could clearly feel the anxiety in Lu Lingye's eyes. Qingxin, I don't like him. Lu Lingye looked at him with eyes as deep as the sea and said, No matter where we are, no matter which planet we are on, no matter what kind of memories we have, I don't like him. In the next second, Luo Qingxin's eyes trembled slightly. There was a faint mist in her eyes. That young man, under the warm sunlight, said each word with incomparable seriousness, as if it was an oath, layer by layer, shining into the bottom of her heart. Qingxin. Luo Qingxin didn't respond. Instead, she opened her arms and hugged him tightly. Actually, she had always been a passive person when it came to relationships. However, at this moment, she really wanted to hug the man in front of her. I know. Luo Qingxin smiled faintly and said, I said 3 times that I know. It means that I really know. Io, my daughter has grown up and knows how to be intimate with a man in front of her house. In the next second, the door of the villa opened. Father Luo walked out with a kind smile on his face. Standing behind him was a gloomy Qinshanmei and Luo Qingmu, who was staring at Lu Lingye with all her might. I'm sorry. Lu Lingye immediately apologized. Uncle, I'm sorry. It was the first time he met his girlfriend's parents, but under such circumstances, he felt especially embarrassed. Lu Lingye thought to himself, Oh no, I must have left a bad impression. Little did he know that in the next second, Father Luo knelt down and bowed. Luo Xiong greets Prince Sai. Luo Qingxin could almost feel that Lu Lingye, who was standing beside her, had turned pale in an instant. Although he already knew about the lunar soul planet, his mind went blank when Luo Qingxin's father knelt in front of him. At this moment, Lu Lingye fell to her knees without hesitation. Uncle, you can't do this. I can't accept it. Luo Qingxin couldn't help but laugh. She squatted down between them and said with a faint smile, Can we get up and talk inside? Prince, please come in. Uncle, get up. In the living room of Luo's house, Luo Mu prepares afternoon tea and snacks. She sneaks a few glances at Lu Lingye and feels more and more satisfied. Father Luo smiled helplessly. Don't keep staring at her. I'm sorry. It's okay, Annie. Luo Mu's eyebrows moved slightly, and she smiled faintly. It's mainly because he gives off a very different feeling from Prince, but he looks exactly the same. He sighed, of course it's the same. Chun Shanmei frowned. Now that Prince is here, you can't stop him from going to the lunar soul planet anymore. Where I go has nothing to do with you. Lu Lingye's expression suddenly turned cold. He raised his eyebrows and said, wherever Qingshun is, I'll be there. Guess I'm going to solve the problem of the special effects. End of chapter. Chapter 3170. Boss, I'm here to protect you. Maybe it was because Lu Lingye's voice was much louder than usual, but Chun Shanmei was stunned and couldn't say a word. Actually, I brought the boss here to ask for your help. Luo Qingchun's eyebrows trembled slightly. The movie Styx has reached a bottleneck. The entire movie industry and even the entertainment industry are waiting to see us make a fool of ourselves. So what do you mean? We don't have enough funds for the final stage, so we can't do special effects. Luo Qingchun raised her eyebrows slightly. Since we can't do special effects, why don't we do a real one? Father Luo was stunned and couldn't understand what Luo Qingchun meant. Luo Qingmu seemed to understand Luo Qingchun's expression and stood on the side to translate. Little sister's meaning is to use our recovered powers to film the final battle of Styx. Since they didn't have the funds to do the special effects, then there was no need to do it. We still have to discuss this matter. Father Luo frowned slightly. The release and control of the energy and the location have to be considered again and again. The location should be in the desert. Luo Qingchun narrowed her eyes. The final battle of Styx is in the desert, so the desert is the best choice. Qingchun. Lu Lingye was slightly stunned and a trace of doubt flashed in his deep eyes. You mean to use real abilities to replace the special effects? Yes. Luo Qingchun nodded slightly and pursed her lips. Before that, boss, you still have to recite the formula to restore your original ability. Formula? You can only rely on yourself. Luo Qingchun looked at him and said, that's your ability. I believe in you. Lu Lingye's eyebrows trembled slightly. She had been protecting him all this time. If he was really a prince like they said and had some ability, then he could protect her in the future. Okay, I'll try my best to restore my energy. He looked at her seriously. I'll protect you in the future. In the next 3 hours, Luo Qingchun began to assign tasks. Luo Fu and Luo Mu were directors and scriptwriters. In addition to studying the script of Styx carefully, they prepared some costumes and props. Luo Qingmu was in charge of playing Zhang Duo's role, Jia Luo. Because this character was quite important, he didn't appear much in the early scenes, but he was a real big boss. Although Luo Qingmu used to be very reluctant to act in Father and Mother Luo's movies, this time, the person who would be acting with her was Lu Lingye. It was as if this man was born to be his enemy. The two women he loved the most in his life both loved him. Since this was a real battle between superpowers, he wanted to see how powerful this so-called Moon Soul Prince was. As for the remaining 2 roles, Lu Qingchun chose a more important one. She was also a righteous person who fought against the enemy together with Lu Lingye in the end. The male lead, Azura, and Demon Lord Jia Luo were originally 2 brothers, but in the end, they became opponents in a life and death battle. This TV series was indeed very interesting to watch. After arranging everyone's tasks, Luo Qingchun started to pack the things they would need to go to the desert the next day. She didn't expect Chun Shanmei to come to her. I want to act in the script of Styx too. She was wearing a black sweater, and her eyes were cold. She didn't look friendly at all as she stood at the door of her room. End of chapter. Chapter 3171. Boss, I'm here to protect you. Luo Qingchun didn't stop what she was doing. She didn't even turn around. She replied coldly, you could go find Lu Lingye. You don't have to tell me. At the beginning, she could still respect Chun Shanmei a little. But now, she felt that she didn't deserve her respect at all. You don't have to deliberately hurt me. I'm not doing this for you. Chun Shanmei looked at her back and said, I still look down on your despicable style. You take advantage of other people's amnesia. But today, I came to find you purely for him. Oh. Luo Qingchun gave a soft snort as her lips curled into a faint smile. Don't you hate him making movies in this world the most? Don't you think these are meaningless to him? Why? Have you changed your mind today? Perhaps in the eyes of some people, since Qin Shanmei had already expressed her interest, she should accept it as a matter of course. Generally, such people like to stand on the absolute moral high ground and judge others. Then they would think that they were the embodiment of justice. She was a friendly person to Qin Shanmei. At least, she didn't speak ill of her. Say what you want. Qin Shanmei narrowed her eyes and said angrily, I just think that you're right about one thing. At least, I should support what he likes to do. I've read the script. You need to roll in the war, right? Luo Qingshun raised her eyebrows and asked, So what? If you're really doing this for his own good, then in order to fully interpret the movie Sticks, you should accept my proposal. Qin Shanmei looked at her coldly and said, I'm not doing this for you. I'm doing this for him. Think about it yourself. As soon as she finished speaking, Qin Shanmei turned to leave. She thought that Luo Qingshun would at least think for a while before giving her an answer. She didn't expect her to open her mouth in the next second. I promise you. Luo Qingshun slowly turned to look at her and said, You probably have the same mentality as my brother. Since you want to compete with me so much, if I don't agree, wouldn't I be stopping the battle in your heart? At this moment, Qin Shanmei was stunned. She thought that there were no loopholes in her righteous words, but she never thought that Luo Qingshun could see through her heart at a glance. Okay. Qin Shanmei looked away and said, It's a deal. Luo Qingshun didn't say anything else. She agreed to Qin Shanmei's request, not because she wanted to shake hands with her, but rather because she wanted Sticks to be better and to like Lu Lingyi. Perhaps this drama would be the first and last Xuanhuan drama in his acting career. She didn't want him to have any regrets in this time and space. However, she was different from Qin Shanmei. She only needed to keep these words in her heart and didn't need to say them out loud. As the night deepened, Lu Lingyi had already returned home. Father Luo told him that the closer he got to the wormhole, the more likely he would remember the chant. He told her that he planned to sit in front of the wormhole for a night and wait for a miracle to happen. Luo Qingshun didn't have any hope. After all, even if Lu Lingyi didn't have any superpowers, they could still make the desired effect with the help of several people. Of course, it would be better if he had superpowers. She didn't know that the next day, when they were ready to leave for the desert, he drove to the villa early in the morning, knocked on the door of her room, and hugged her suddenly. I made it. End of this chapter. Chapter 3172. Boss, I'll protect you. 56. Luo Qingshun was still in a daze when he raised his right hand and the hot water on the table froze into ice. So your Situ Arcana is ice. Luo Qingshun tilted her head and blinked. Then you and I are incompatible with fire and ice. Lu Lingyi was a little stunned, and a faint doubt flashed through his eyes. Shouldn't fire and ice be incompatible? Water, fire, and ice. Ha! Luo Qingshun laughed awkwardly. It seems so. Everyone was very happy that Lu Lingyi had successfully recovered his energy. Qin Shanmei ran down the stairs like crazy. Have you recovered your memory? Really? Really? No. Lu Lingyi's voice was very calm, without any hostility, but this calmness was even more hurtful. Qin Shanmei's face flashed with a trace of disappointment, but then she showed an embarrassed smile and said, As long as I can recover my energy, I'm very happy. Qingshun, have you brought your sandproof equipment? Lu Lingyi didn't respond to Qin Shanmei. Rather, he came to Luo Qingshun's side and softly patted her head. The desert is very hot. Don't turn into a little charcoal when the time comes. Humph! Luo Qingshun snorted proudly. You've just recovered your energy and you're already despising me, boss. How would I dare? Lu Lingyi said bitterly. I'm afraid you won't be able to adapt when the time comes. It was probably because Luo Qingshun and Lu Lingyi's conversation was too sweet, but Qin Shanmei's heart didn't feel any anger this time. There was more sadness, a sadness that came from the depths of her heart, from a city to the no-man's land in the desert. It took a full 7 days just by car. They had almost no contact with the outside world in these 7 days. On the one hand, there were a lot of media following Lu Lingyi's matter. In order to avoid too much coverage, it was better for less people to know about the last battle. On the other hand, it was easy to cause a butterfly effect on a planet without any abilities. Luo Qingshun still didn't know what this butterfly effect was, but in the end, it was better for fewer people to know about it. Just a few days after they lost contact, the first press conference of God of Light was held, and a lot of topics were raised on the internet. The first one to post on Weibo was Li Xiaoyu, the heroine of God of Light. It was said that in order to make the special effects look more realistic, Li Xiaoyu even paid the crew later. She only hoped that this time God of Light could satisfy everyone. Li Xiaoyu, time flies, but what's left behind is always the best. God of Light has always been on the cusp of the storm, but we have never given up. We don't blame those who have left. People who walk different paths cannot work together. But don't criticize them. We have never been unfair to anyone, and finally love and peace. Epsilon. After the pet door incident, Li's Xiaoyos. Although she kept doing public service to make up for it, there was no way for her to return to her original position. Therefore, she had no choice but to stake everything on the God of Light, hoping that she would be able to achieve a complete victory this time. The comments below were different. Some were her die-hard fans, while others said that she was showing off her character. In addition, He Jingxian, who played the male lead, posted a photo of the show on Weibo and tagged the second male lead, Wanwan. Wanwan replaced Lu Lingye's position at that time, but he was not very mature. Just looking at the stills, he gave people a feeling that he was not very professional. End of chapter. Chapter 3173. However, He Jingxuan's Weibo was full of praises for him. He Jingxian, God will save the best for last. Because of you, God of Light has become even better. Wan compared to Li Xiaoyu, He Jingxuan's Weibo had more people criticizing him. Firstly, it might be because Li Xiaoyu is a girl. After all, she had a fan base and was good-looking. With more die-hard fans, it was easy to cover up the bad things. Secondly, He Jingxuan's Weibo was really meaningful. It made people think that he was a person who flattered the strong and stepped on the weak. White cloud and sky. Do you have to be so specific? I've never paid attention to LLY before, but I'm on his side this time. The whole thing is your crew's fault. Is it fun to jump out one by one to sing a duet? 8,856 likes. Fragrant grass, green sky. 1. Meat likes to eat rabbit food. 2. But in the end, the popularity of God of Light was still hyped up by them. At one point, it became the most anticipated fantasy movie. In less than an hour after the press conference, the hot search list was filled with God of Light. Li Xiaoyu sat on the sofa in the dressing room, drinking tea and admiring her freshly done nails. After a while, He Jingxian pushed the door open and walked in. The air was instantly filled with a strong smell of perfume. He Jingxian was wearing a formal suit. His hair looked as if it had been waxed 10 times, shiny and shiny. It seems that you're in a good mood. He Jingxian still had the intention of pleasing Li Xiaoyu. In addition, they had a lot of kissing scenes in the movie, which made the two of them even more intimate. At first, Li Xiaoyu was quite resistant to He Jingxian. After all, he was really not good-looking. But sometimes, a man's handsomeness was in a flash. Sometimes, it was in constant sweet talk. He Jingxuan's sugar-coated bullets did change Li Xiaoyu's impression of him. Now, they were half lovers. Of course I'm in a good mood. Li Xiaoyu pursed her red lips and said, that Lu Lingye wanted to bring me down, but he didn't expect that he would bring himself down first. Isn't that right? He Jingxuan's lips curved into a cold smile. But I didn't expect you to be so ruthless. You actually sent a spy to Styx and even did something to the investors. Li Xiaoyu, how much do you hate Lu Lingye? Very, very, very annoying. Li Xiaoyu looked at him and said, 10,000 times more annoying than you think. How could she not hate Lu Lingye? She had always thought of herself as a princess. Moreover, she had always been defeated in her own field. However, she had been humiliated by a mere Lu Lingye. How could she not hate him? Ruthless. How ruthless? He Jingxian sat beside her, crossed his legs, and raised his hand to touch her face. Women are really terrible when they are ruthless. The next second, Li Xiaoyu arrogantly grabbed his hand and pushed it away. Don't act like it has nothing to do with you. If Styx is successfully released, our God of Light will have a very big risk. I'm just making this risk disappear. I understand. He Jingxian raised his eyebrows and laughed. This feeling of making Lu Lingye unable to make a comeback. Why does it feel so good in my heart? He will never be able to make a comeback. Li Xiaoyu sneered twice and said, if possible, I hope to see his expression when God of Light is released and the box office is high. She wanted him to regret rejecting her, and regret all the stupid decisions he had made before. Good night. This chapter ends. Chapter 3174. Reading on a mobile phone. Li Xiaoyu wanted to take revenge on Lu Lingye. The simplest and most direct way was to make Lu Lingye regret. Her arrogant heart wanted to see him regret. She wanted him to be like a loyal servant, subservient to her. Hence, even though she had never been willing to attend promotional events, she was willing to give it her all for Light God. She worked so hard to stand on the stage and be respected by countless people. She wanted to have countless fans and shine brightly. However, she did not know that while she was working hard on the promotional events, she was in the middle of a deserted desert. It was the last and most intense stage of filming. Luo Qingmu flew up into the sky. Layers of lightning fell from the sky, rolling up the white sand on the ground. A strong wind blew. He raised his sword and pointed at the white-clothed youth in the sandstorm. Azura, you don't deserve to have her. In the next second, Lu Lingye's body glowed faintly. He nodded and said, but I love her. At that moment, Luo Qingshan and Chen Shanmei appeared at the same time. The sky was filled with purple and red. Luo Qingshan and Chen Shanmei leaped up and appeared beside Lu Lingye and Luo Qingmu respectively. Whatever it is that you're protecting, I'll stay by your side. Meng Yuan. What is kindness? I was kind before, but in the end, what did I get in return? Since I can't get anything, I will destroy it. I will destroy this world. Purple Succubus. Luo Qingshan's character was called Meng Yuan. Chen Shanmei's character was also Purple Succubus. Red, blue, white, and purple lights intersected in the sky. Father and Mother Luo and Aunt Luo held their breaths as they filmed seriously. Originally, Purple Succubus with the water ability wanted to attack Azura with the ice ability together with Jiao Luo. However, Chen Shanmei changed the direction of her attack and directed it at Luo Qingshan. Luo Qingshan thought to herself, I guessed right. She was so eager to participate in Styx because she wanted to have a direct confrontation with Luo Qingmu. In the energy system of the lunar soul planet, the fire ability was afraid of the water ability. Therefore, even if Luo Qingshan used all her strength, she might not be able to block Chen Shanmei's attack. Lu Lingye frowned and activated her superpower to freeze Chen Shanmei's water into ice. The ice cubes fell to the ground one by one, making crisp cracking sounds. Seeing this, Luo Qingmu also used her thunder element to attack Lu Lingye. This kind of fight didn't seem like an act at all, but a duel. It was a real battle of abilities. Luo Qingshan frowned and turned her gaze. You deal with Jialuo. Leave Purple Succubus to me. Father Luo didn't shout cut, which proved that he was quite satisfied with such a scene. In that case, let's make this battle even fiercer. Chen Shanmei was not a fool. She knew that the fire elemental ability was no match for the water elemental ability. That was why she confronted Luo Qingshan head-on. Since she had already provoked her to this extent, it was not her style to not accept it. Lu Lingye looked into her eyes. There was a hint of worry in his deep eyes, but he still nodded. He should believe in her and believe that she was strong enough to deal with the person she wanted to deal with. You owe me. It's time to pay me back. Chen Shanmei roared angrily. Water vapor filled the sky and formed waves that surged towards Luo Qingshan. Luo Qingshan gave a cold snort as her lips curled into a faint smile. She raised her right hand, and a golden light soared into the sky from the exquisite ring. The powerful energy scattered the waves of water and knocked Chen Shanmei to the ground. Cut! In the next second, Father Luo shouted cut. This book came from Chapter 3175. Reading on mobile phone, very good. It's really, really good. Father Luo was very satisfied and said, in a while, we will shoot the last shot, and the production of the last scene will be completed. Although she had energy, Shanmei still felt pain all over her body when she fell from midair. But what she felt most was not pain, but shock. What kind of energy did Luo Qingshun use just now? How could it disperse her ability so quickly and so easily? Qingshun, are you okay? Lu Lingye hurried to her and said, You scared me just now. I'm fine. Luo Qingshun narrowed her eyes and smiled faintly. Maybe you should ask Miss Shanmei if she's hurt. What kind of energy did you use just now? Shanmei was too lazy to beat around the bush and said directly in a questioning tone, Everyone on Lunar Soul Planet can only have one kind of energy. You can't. Do you think I'll tell you with our relationship? Luo Qingshun didn't wait for her to finish and interrupted her directly. You know that the winner takes all. A loss is a loss. The loser has no reason. Some words were not as harsh as she said. She just didn't want to communicate with people she didn't like. Keeping silent was the greatest respect for each other. Anyway, everyone has worked hard. After the retakes, the movie will be finished. Father Luo smiled, happy and excited. He had a dream of being a director, and this time he was given such a good opportunity. He felt like a pie fell from the sky and enjoyed it. Okay, Luo Qingshun nodded and said, I've contacted Sister Lee. I don't think there's a way to go online. It's too late to schedule now, so we can only go online. 10 days later, all the shooting was finished. Mother Luo was not only a scriptwriter, but also an expert in editing. This was a very complicated movie. After so many people's hands, it was finally finished. At that moment, Lu Lingye completely ignored the surrounding gazes and hugged her in her arms. Qingshun, I'm so happy. I finally have my own fantasy movie. Luo Qingshun pursed her lips, and the corners of her mouth raised a smile that could not be concealed. Lu Lingye was happy, and so was she. It was as if she was infected and couldn't stop herself. After returning to City A, Luo Qingshun showed the film to Elder Sister Lee. Elder Sister Lee almost jumped up from her chair and asked in astonishment, How did you do it? Everyone in this circle knew that special effect production was the most tedious process in Xuanhuan films because the actors were basically performing behind a green cloth. Other than the actors themselves, there was no need for any other costs. However, a large number of special effects were required. It had only been less than 2 months since the filming of Stick stopped. How did they manage to make the special effects so perfect? This concerns the director's privacy. Sister Lee, it's not convenient for us to disclose. Luo Qingshun pursed her lips and said, The scenes involving Meng Yuan, Purple Succubus, and Jia Luo have been res-hot. I've reviewed the movie several times. There shouldn't be any other problems. You guys really surprised me. Sister Lee looked at them and said, Don't worry, I'll arrange the rest, but Sister Lee can't guarantee that it can go online. If it can't, it's okay, Sister Lee. Lu Lingye moved slightly and said, As long as the audience can see it, it's the same anywhere. This book came from Chapter 3176. Reading on mobile phone. He didn't make movies to make money, but to fulfill his dream. This was his dream. That was why he did everything he could to fulfill this dream. Sister Lee didn't let them wait too long. She found a familiar platform in half a day and released a trailer. In addition to the plot, the last 10 seconds of the trailer showed the battle in the desert. In less than 10 minutes, the word sticks instantly became the first trending topic on Weibo. The original first post was #God of Light will be released tomorrow. What are your expectations? It had to be said that Luo Qingshun was shocked by the 6-minute trailer as a bystander. Almost 99% of the netizens were very amazed, and the comments were quite wonderful. The 100th love letter. I'll go. Crazy support, 4 sticks. Jasmine. This special effect is no different from the first-class special effects in the world. Why do I feel it is more realistic? That's summer. Looking forward to it, looking forward to it, looking forward to it. Important things have to be said 3 times. I'm really looking forward to it. Pineapple Fairy. What kind of director can make such a movie? I'm really curious. Almost everyone expressed their expectations for sticks. The more people looked forward to it, the the more the male and female protagonists of God of Light couldn't sit still. In a coffee shop on the corner, Li Xiaoyu sat by the window, lit a slender woman's cigarette, took a deep breath, and exhaled a cloud of smoke. He Jingxian, who was sitting opposite her, obviously couldn't keep calm. He said impatiently, "What's the matter with them? Why did they release Sticks all of a sudden? Didn't Zhang Duo change his mind at the last minute? Did you handle it properly? I say, are you done?" Li Xiaoyu put the cigarette in the ashtray and burned it. "Didn't you see? Zhang Duo's role was changed. How to know where they found him?" No. He Jingxian shook his head and said, "That's not the point. The point is which special effect company did the special effects for them. That special effect, although it's only a few seconds, it can't be done in a short time." "You asked me, who should I ask?" Li Xiaoyu's right hand shook slightly. She lit another cigarette and said, "All we can do now is wait for the results." If there was a way, she wouldn't listen to He Jingxuan's complaints, because it was really annoying. "No," He Jingxian said resolutely. "I've done so much for this movie. I want to be the only movie in the same period. We can't let anything affect it. Aren't you very good? Why don't you think of a way?" Li Xiaoyu looked at the fire in his eyes and snorted coldly. "What can we do? We can only hope that the last 10 seconds of the scene is just a gimmick. That way, when the real movie comes out, the audience will be disappointed." "I got it." He Jingxian seemed to have thought of something from Li Xiaoyu's words. He looked at her with an enlightened expression and said, "We can contact those large online platforms. If they don't broadcast its movie, then it won't have any popularity." The next second, Li Xiaoyu narrowed his eyes slightly and sneered. If today's trailer hadn't been released, this would be a way, but now, probably all the large online platforms were waiting to fight for the exclusive rights, and they were even unscrupulous. This book came from. Chapter 3177. Reading on her phone, Li Xiaoyu had no choice but to pin her hopes on a miracle. After all, under normal circumstances, it was impossible for anyone to make such cutting-edge special effects in such a short time. If they only used the last 10 seconds of the video as a gimmick, the public would not let them off if the actual film was a mess. He Jingxian bit his lip and said with a determined expression, "I will never resign myself to fate. Even if it's just a small amount of strength, I will do it." Li Xiaoyu thought that he had some shocking method, but she did not expect that he would ask his friends who knew hacking to help him spread rumors about Lu Lingye and Sticks on the internet. Both films would be released tomorrow, so it was better to smear as much as possible. The lines of the fake reviewers were roughly as follows. "Xiao buys flour. What Sticks? It's obviously a cheap special effect. Okay? How can this be compared to God of Light? Winter's solstice. I'm just a passerby. Those people on the internet are just cloud players who follow the trend. How can a 10-second special effect be considered a special effect? It's really an insult to the word special effect. You are my sunshine. Who cares about Sticks or Sky River? If you have the ability, release it in the theaters. Since it can't be released, it means that he must not have reached the standard. Everyone should just watch God of Light. Xiaomo's Cold Autumn. What's wrong with God of Light? They're all big stars. Other than Lu Lingye, all the other people in Sticks are unfamiliar faces. I don't know anyone. Can Lu Lingye's appearance alone hold up the sky? This floor was special because there were hundreds of comments, and all the replies were the same. Little Piglet. I think Lu Lingye's appearance is okay. Absolute keyboard warrior. Actually, I think it's okay too. The male lead of God of Light is a little ugly. It's okay with makeup, but it's really not good looking. Sleeping Koala, plus 10086. The comments that He Jingxian asked the black reviewers to spread on the internet were actually useful. Some passersby's mentality would waver, but they would not come to a conclusion in advance because they had to wait until they saw the results. Apart from hiring fake reviewers, He Jingxian also contacted a few film and television platforms and asked them to boycott the release of Sticks. Most of them rejected He Jingxuan's request, and only 2 of them agreed. Those 2 companies were considered big platforms. The reason why they agreed to He Jingxuan's request was that they had placed all their bets on Light God. If Light God could become a hit, then they might get the exclusive rights to broadcast the movie after it was released. However, they were destined to lose this bet. For hours after God of Light was released, the results were not that satisfactory. Although it was not too bad, it only ranked third in the box office. It did not even surpass The Legend of the Phoenix Mountain, which originally wanted Lu Lingye to be the male lead. The scores given by the various film and television forums were not high either. The netizens gave a bad review for basically two reasons. 1. The male lead is really ugly. 2. The special effects aren't that great. Since there were more B-list and C-list stars in God of Light, the remuneration for the stars took up a lot of money. Therefore, there wasn't much money to be used for special effects. If the special effects of a fantasy drama were not done well, it would be a complete failure. And in 2 hours, Styx would be released on the platform. This book came from Chapter 3178. Boss, I'll protect you. Two halves, everyone was very nervous. The entire Weibo fell into a dispute between two factions. In the eyes of many people, the special effects of God of Light were not enough, the actors' acting skills were not good, and the male leads' acting skills were extremely low. However, there was still a group of people who thought that this fantasy drama was not bad. Some of them were fans of the actors in God of Light, while others were naturally optimistic. This group of people thought that all the actors had worked hard. If people liked the fantasy drama, they could watch it. If they didn't like it, they could leave. There was no need to comment. My heart. If I like it, I can watch it. If I don't like it, I won't watch it. Did someone put it on your neck for you to watch? The Sick Man is Central Asia. After reading the spoilers, I'll leave first. Nyo is white. There's no knife, so I won't watch it. A Man's Heart. Do you know why some films are not bad, but the box office is not high? There are too many people like you. Yes, we don't like it, so we'll leave. Your idol has no achievements. No wonder people say that he's a little fresh meat or a little female lead. In the end, he doesn't have any good works. These comments caused a lot of discussion on the internet. Of course, most people were still watching to see what kind of film Styx would be after it was released, and then compared it with each other. But this kind of comparison was too unfair for God of Light, because the final battle in the desert was something that the crew of God of Light would never be able to film in this lifetime. When Styx was released, the first people to click on it were Li Xiaoyu and He Jingxian in the coffee shop. In less than an hour, the number of views exceeded 100 million. 2 hours later, the film ended. The ratings of all the major forums were all higher than 9. 8. The entire Weibo was in a state of paralysis. You had to be handsome a few times to enter the main page of Styx. All the major netizens gave their honest and shocked comments. Spring breeze is green on the South Shore. I didn't expect to see such a fantasy drama in my lifetime. My heart was shocked. Fruit and squirrel. I want to know how the special effects of the final battle were done. I'm in the special effects industry. I really want to learn. If then, me too. Peace for a good person. Same. Drum and chicken. It's really shocking. This is the best fantasy drama I've ever seen in my life. Different fireworks. Can I cheer for Menyuan? Who is this actor? So beautiful, I like it. Spiritual liquid. Lover in autumn water. Be reasonable. Lu Lingye is the one who is really handsome. Okay? This was the real face of a male lead. Okay? That He Jingxian didn't even have the looks to play Galu. That Jia Luo from Styx was so cool. Fanghua. The most classic example is that I can see the hatred in Gallo's eyes. Her Royal Highness. Anyway, God of Light is a complete failure. Inside the coffee shop, Li Xiaoyu almost roared out in shock. She gasped and said, "Impossible. Absolutely impossible. How is it possible for them to produce such a special effect film in such a short period of time? It must have cost tens of millions of yuan." The next second, He Jingxian slammed the table and said, "Damn it, did those people make a mistake? Even if Styx was really not bad, Light God was not bad either, okay? Are the netizens blind? What's the point of praising the strong and stepping on the weak?" Li Xiaoyu couldn't help but sneer twice when she heard this sentence. Your sudden sense of justice really makes me not used to it. End of chapter. Chapter 3179. Boss, I'll protect you. 63. He Jingxian wanted to refute her, but at that moment his phone rang. It was from one of the big platforms that had promised him yesterday that they would not allow Styx to be released, the viewing platform. As soon as He Jingxian picked up the phone and was about to say something polite, the other party had already started cursing without caring about his image. He Jingxian, you're ugly and your movies are trash. What kind of grudge do you have against us? Why are you treating us like this? Let me tell you, from today onwards, from this moment onwards, I feel that you and I are irreconcilable enemies. The next second, another inquiring voice came from the other end of the phone. Director, did you just say that you want to take down all of He Jingxuan's films? Yes. Take them all off the shelves. Don't leave a single one. Before He Jingxian could say a word, the call was hung up. At this moment, he really felt as if he had stretched out his face and been slapped in the face. It hurt to the bone. The more his face hurt, the more he hated Lu Lingye. However, his hatred didn't affect Lu Lingye at all. At this moment, he was being bombarded by countless calls. In less than 4 hours, Lu Lingye's popularity had risen to that of an A-list celebrity. He was finally on fire because a shocking fantasy drama had become popular. Of course, the busiest one was not him, but Sister Li. This time, elder Sister Li not only invited Lu Lingye and Luo Qingshun, but also Luo Qingmu. Originally, he was very reluctant, but after Luo Qingshun's coaxing and pestering, he still came along. Hello, my name is Chun Li. Sister Li extended her hand and said, you can call me Sister Li like the others. Hello, Luo Qingmu. Qingchun. Sister Li narrowed her eyes and said, so you are Qingchun's brother? She looks more like my sister. Sister, your head is a ghost. Luo Qingshun patted her thigh and said, you have to respect Sister Li. Elder Sister Li was considered a big shot in Xing Chen's management company. No matter how one looked at it, she treated Lu Lingye and her very well. It's nothing. Sister Li shook her head with a chuckle. This time, I'm looking for Mr. Luo because the company's higher-ups have given me a suggestion. They want to ask if you want to develop in the acting industry. Not only was Luo Qingshun stunned, even Luo Qingshun was stunned. Star, Chun, unexpectedly. However, yes, sign, Luo, Qing, Mu. Brother, Luo Qingshun pushed his arm and said, this is a good opportunity. I don't even have one. Qingshun, do you have, Elder Sister Li hurriedly said, I just want to discuss it with your brother before discussing it with you. After all, Elder Sister Li and you are on the same side. Lu Lingye, who was sitting at the side, couldn't help but smile. Her mind was filled with pink bubbles of happiness. If she could be in the entertainment industry with Luo Qingshun, she would be able to act with her. It would be best if it was an urban romance drama. That would be a wonderful thing. Luo Qingmu frowned slightly. At first, she wanted to reject. After all, she wasn't very interested in acting. But in the next second, Chun Shanmei's face flashed in her mind. The man she liked so much was an actor. Then, he could be an actor too. Although there was no connection between the two, deep in his heart, he felt that he was closer to her. End of chapter. Chapter 3180. Boss, I'll protect you, 6464. Okay, I promise you. Luo Qingmu said after 3 seconds of silence. I'm willing to be an actress. That's great. Sister Li clapped her hands excitedly and said, now, besides the praise of Zeronite, you are the most popular person on the internet. But because your information is blank, if you are sure, we are ready to sign the contract, and the company will prepare a document for you. Luo Qingmu nodded and said, okay, thank you, Sister Li. I have one last question. Sister Li looked at the 3 of them and said, who was the director of Styx later? I saw that the subtitles on the internet said that it was an unknown person. I don't know if it's possible for me to know him. The 3 of them looked at each other and then shook their heads. Because Father Luo said that the desert shooting was too hard, and the energy recovery was also something worth celebrating, he took Mother Luo out to play before the movie was released. Right now, the 2 elders were probably enjoying themselves to the fullest. Ahem. Luo Qingshun saw that the 2 of them were silent, so she cleared her throat and explained, the director of this movie is my father. He is a man of leisure. The unknown person actually has a Weibo account, which contains the small movies he usually makes. In the next second, Luo Qingmu said, "According to our dad, he's a pretty good internet celebrity." "Oh," Sister Lee said suddenly, "I see. Because he is not in the film industry, I didn't find out. Your father is really good." Ring. While they were chatting, the phone in Sister Lee's office rang again. She frowned slightly and pressed the answer button. "Didn't I tell you? I have something to do here, and I don't need to answer the phone." "Sister Lee, this is the phone number of the viewing platform." The assistant said, "It's the platform that refused to release us yesterday. They said that they can expose us, but they only want us to let them release Styx." Elder Sister Lee raised her eyebrows at them and said with an unconcealable smile, "Put the call through." Immediately, Sister Lee pressed the hands-free button. "Hello, Elder Sister Lee. I'm the director of the viewing platform, Chun Sheng. I know you must be very busy right now, so I'll make it short." The person on the other end of the phone seemed to have already written the script. Not only did she recite it quickly, but she also had a certain amount of emotion. "Actually, I have a rough idea of what you want to do." Sister Lee crossed her arms in front of her chest and said arrogantly, "You rejected us yesterday. Today you found out that Styx is a Xuanhuan masterpiece. Now, you want us to let you release it. How can there be such a good thing in the world?" "Sister Lee, I swear to heaven and earth," Chun Sheng said in a solemn tone, "we never wanted to reject Styx. It was Yi Jingxian who insisted that their light god would definitely be popular. He didn't want us to go and cause trouble for ourselves. I only agreed to it because I was muddle-headed. So," Sister Lee gave a fill-in-the-blank question. As the name implied, if director Chun Sheng filled in the blanks well, then he would have a chance to obtain the broadcasting rights of Styx on the platform. If he did not fill in the blanks well, we, the viewing platform, have the obligation and responsibility to expose this kind of scheming actor. Chun Sheng promised, "We only hope that your company will give our small platform a chance." End of chapter. Chapter 3181. "Boss, I'll protect you." The phone went silent for 3 seconds. It was not that Sister Lee was thinking, but she purposely went silent for 3 seconds. Then she said, "Sure, I promise you." "Thank you, Sister Lee. Thank you so much." Chun Sheng heaved a sigh of relief and said, "I'll go expose it now. I won't disturb you, Sister Lee. Go ahead with your work." "Okay." Sister Lee hung up the phone and could not help but laugh. This Chun Sheng has always been arrogant. I've hit a wall with him many times. No wonder. Luo Qingshan blinked and said, Sister Lee's expression did not show any hesitation, but he thought you were thinking. "He's so annoying." Sister Lee shrugged and said, "Yesterday, when I was talking to him about the release of Styx, his tone was so condescending that it made me angry." Lu Lingye was confused and asked, "Then why did Sister Lee agree to it?" "You're stupid." Luo Qingmu saw through her and explained, "Although I'm not in the entertainment industry, I know that perception is a big platform. Sister Lee is trying to increase the exposure of Styx." "Yes." Sister Lee looked at Luo Qingmu with satisfaction and said, "You're really good." Lu Lingye felt sad and smiled helplessly. "I feel that no matter who it is, they're more suitable for this industry than me." "Boss, it's not about being suitable or not." Luo Qingmu interrupted Luo Qingshun and said, "I think you're good the way you are." Luo Qingmu did not know why, but ever since they filmed Styx together, her hostility towards Lu Lingye had lessened. It was probably because he had vented all his unwillingness, anger, and jealousy in that duel. This reminded him of something. Lu Lingye was not only his rival in love, he was also the man that his sister loved deeply. Moreover, he was the Prince of Moon Soul. No matter what, he should respect him. Half an hour later, the platform attacked He Jingxian on Weibo. They said that he had not only bribed the platform, but also used his hacking skills to hire a lot of people. Before Styx was even released, they had already started slandering him. It was obvious that he was not a good person. The netizens also replied, "Ugly people make a lot of trouble. Honestly, those who think he's good-looking must have been hit by a car, the ugliest male lead in history." He Jingxian was pushed to the forefront. He thought that God of Light could push him from a B-list to an A-list celebrity, but he did not expect that he would become the target of public criticism. Not only was his image completely destroyed, the company also completely. He couldn't accept it. He really couldn't accept it. This was like a big reversal, a complete reversal of his life. Why was Lu Lingye able to rise to the top while he could only remain in the shadows? While he was drinking at home, he accidentally found a comment on the internet about the special effects of sticks. I'm a passerby. Could it be that you guys only saw that the special effects of sticks were great, but did not see the strangeness within? Jingxian, Jingshuan. The meaning behind his words was that sticks was not made with special effects at all, but with some unknown power. Of course, most of the replies below said that he was crazy and that he was jealous of others. They said that the grapes were sour because they couldn't eat them. However, Jingxian felt that what this person said was very reasonable. Could it be that there was something he didn't know about? Maybe there was still a chance? Sleep early. Sleep early. Thank you for the tip. Remember to vote and rest well. You have to go to class tomorrow. End of chapter. Chapter 3182. International Hotel. Except for Zhang Duo, everyone who participated in Sticks was present, including Director Wang, who had rushed back from abroad. Cheers, Director Wang said with a smile. I always thought that this movie would die in the womb. I never thought that it would be possible for it to be released and that the response would be so good. It's all thanks to Director Luo's help. Father Luo was not used to being called out suddenly. He hurriedly said, actually, it's just to make the children happy. In Father Luo's heart, his daughter's happiness was the most important thing. During the meal, everyone was talking and laughing. The only one who did not speak was Chen Shanmei. She was drinking alone at the side, one glass after another. There were countless troubles in her heart, but she could not say them out loud. The things that she was obsessed with all those years seemed to no longer exist. Beep, beep, beep. At this moment, a text message rang. It was from an unknown number, but he knew who it was because there was a note at the end of the message. Miss Chen Shanmei, your acting is really good. I'm impressed. I don't know if you have time to talk to me. He Jingxian. When she saw He Jingshuan's name, Chen Shanmei was stunned at first. After a while, she remembered who he was. If it was in the past, she would have deleted this message. But at this moment, she wanted to meet He Jingxian and hear what he had to say. If he wanted to harm Lu Lingye, she could tell Lu Lingye alone and let him know that she was sincere to him. Where are you? Chen Shanmei. The next second, He Jingshuan's message came again. Coffee shop 108 on E Street. I'll wait for you. He Jingxian. No one asked Chen Shanmei when she left the table. Luo Qingmu saw it, but she did not ask. It was time for him to wake up. She was not his. From the past to the present, from the present to the future, she was not his. Brother, let's have a drink. Luo Qingchun looked sideways and seemed to feel Luo Qingmu's disappointment. She raised her wine glass and said, I hope you can become a good actress. Okay. Luo Qingmu nodded and drank the wine in the glass. She said, Sister, you too. I'm not going to be an actor. Luo Qingchun shook her head and said, I have already talked to Sister Li. Actually, I still want to be Lu Lingye's assistant. If there's a need for me in the future, I can also act. The mission in this dimension did not require her to become an actress. It was not like she had never been an actress before. She really had no interest in it. All right. Luo Qingmu raised her eyebrows and said, What do you think? Do you think your brother will become famous? I don't know if I'll be famous or not. Luo Qingchun's eyebrows moved slightly. But I think you'll definitely change. She couldn't pinpoint exactly what had changed. In this world, things would always move in the opposite direction when they reached an extreme. However, when he fell to the bottom of the valley, he would experience a rebound. In her eyes, it was time for Luo Qingmu to rebound. Half an hour later, at Cafe 108 on E Street, Chen Shanmei had never met He Jingxian before. She only knew what he looked like by looking up photos on the internet. You are He Jingxian, beautiful purple succubus. I've heard a lot about you. Before looking for Chen Shanmei, he secretly sent someone to investigate her relationship with Lu Lingye and Luo Qingchun. If the information was correct, they should be love rivals. This book came from Chapter 3183. You don't need to be polite. Just say it. Chen Shanmei took a sip of coffee and said, I don't like being polite. Well, I'll be frank. He Jingxian cleared his throat and said, I think you don't like Luo Qingchun, and I hate Lu Lingye. Haha. Chen Shanmei sneered and said, then I have nothing to say to you. I won't hurt Lu Lingye. I know. He Jingxian smiled and said, but you can't have him. Then he took out a stack of documents from the file bag beside him and put it in front of her. He said, I did a thorough investigation before I came to you. I'm not here to negotiate with you. I'm here to let you make a choice. Chen Shanmei frowned and opened the file in front of her. There were about 30 pieces of paper in it, all of which were analysis posts about the special effects of sticks. Some of them were even analysis papers from abroad. Don't be jealous of others if you can't make the special effects yourself. Chen Shanmei shrugged and said, you're just saying that the grapes are sour. Ha 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 ha. He Jingxian laughed and said, it seems that you're really protective of Lu Lingye. She did hate Luo Qingchun, but she also loved Lu Lingye. If Lu Lingye didn't like Luo Qingchun, maybe she and Lu Lingye would always be friends. But now it was impossible. If you have nothing to say, I'm leaving. She was going to find Lu Lingye and tell him about He Jingxian. In this way, she and He Jingxian would cross paths. You really don't give up until you're dead. He Jingxian sneered and said, listen to this. How do you think the public will react when they hear this recording? Chen Shanmei frowned. Before she came back to her senses, He Jingxian had pressed the play button. There were the voices of Luo Qingchun, Luo Qingmu, and Luo Qingmu. How is it? My thunder power is good, isn't it? I think my fire power is also very powerful. You can't beat Shanmei's water power. Shanmei is better. Hey. The winner is king. Let's talk, okay? By the way, sister, what's with that golden light that soared into the sky at the end? It's so powerful. Oh, that? I'm not telling you. Chen Shanmei's fingertips trembled and her face turned pale. What do you mean? What do you want to do? What kind of uproar do you think it will cause if I put this audio online? He Jingxian looked at her and said, you should know better than me. Do you think anyone will believe that? Why not? He Jingxian smiled and said, your so-called special effects are too exaggerated. Anyone in the same industry will believe it. Do you think ordinary people like us can tolerate monsters like you? Chen Shanmei trembled as she roared. What are you trying to do? Since you don't belong here, please go back to your own world, He Jingxian said coldly. I don't want to see Lu Lingye in this world. Chen Shanmei smiled helplessly. Do you think I don't want to go back? He is the Prince of Moon's soul. I really want to go back and let him return to his original state. What? He Jingxian was shocked. You can't go back? No, we'll go back. At this moment, Chen Shanmei's eyes turned sharp. But that Luo Qingchun keeps stopping us from going back. This book came from Chapter 3184. Since that's the case, no matter what the process is, at least the result is the same. He Jingxian raised his eyebrows and said, why don't we work together? Me and you. Don't you want Lu Lingye to go back to your planet? I want him to go back too. Chen Shanmei took a deep breath and looked at He Jingxian. Actually, she should have rejected him. After all, she knew that he was not a good person, but she agreed. In the next half an hour, He Jingxian started to discuss the plan with her. Luo Qingchun was always by Lu Lingye's side, so the best way was to let Luo Qingchun leave first. At 8 o'clock in the evening, Chen Shanmei returned to the villa alone. Her eyes were filled with loneliness and tears. Why are you back today? Luo Qingmu was the first to notice her and opened the door to let her in. I have something to tell Qingchen. Chen Shanmei took a deep breath and said, is she here? Why are you looking for her? Luo Qingmu found it strange. Since Chen Shanmei disliked Luo Qingchun so much, why would she look for her alone? In the next second, Chen Shanmei's eyes turned red. She looked at Luo Qingmu sadly and said, why are you talking to me like this? Would I really hurt her? She's so powerful. How could I hurt her? That's not what I meant. Seeing Chen Shanmei's sad expression, Luo Qingmu could not help but feel sad. He kept telling himself that he could not go on like this. He should have let go long ago. But only those who have loved know that in the fleeting time, when that person takes the initiative to talk to you, you don't even have the courage to refuse. She's upstairs. Luo Qingmu looked away and said, Go ahead if you have something to do. Knock, knock, knock. To be honest, Luo Qingshun did not expect Chun Shanmei to knock on her door after Sticks ended. Can I come in? Chun Shanmei's voice was no longer filled with hostility. It was as gentle and cold as before. Luo Qingshun frowned slightly. She wanted to refuse, but she felt that no matter what the situation was, she should not hit a smiling person. Yes, she responded faintly, took a sip of tea, and said, I wouldn't be surprised if you went to look for a cat or a dog for no reason. But since you came to find me, you must have something to say. Well, that's natural. Chun Shanmei bit her lips and said, I want to go back. You can't do it the hard way, so you want to do it the soft way? Luo Qingshun shrugged and said, In my eyes, you are not such a person. What I mean is, in the next second, Chun Shanmei suddenly nodded and said, I want to go back by myself. Luo Qingshun was stunned for a moment. She squinted at Chun Shanmei. Chun Shanmei nodded seriously and said, You didn't hear wrong. Since this place can't accommodate me, and I've recovered my energy, it's time to go back. But I can't go back alone. I need your help. I don't know if you're willing to help. Father Luo once told her that there were not many people who could pass through the wormhole and not suffer the backlash of the wormhole. Lu Lingye was one, and so was she. She understood what Chun Shanmei meant. She wanted her to open the wormhole first, and then Chun Shanmei would quickly use her ability to travel. She really didn't want to help her, but Chun Shanmei kept wandering around in front of them. Every few days, she would say sigh sigh. It was really annoying, because she wanted to get it done once and for all. She agreed to Chun Shanmei's request. This book came from Chapter 3185. However, he did not expect that this humble pleading was just to make the plan more perfect. On Sunday morning, He Jingxian sent more than 50 bodyguards to Lu Lingye's residence and found the location of the wormhole on the map drawn by Chun Shanmei. In the afternoon, they had already set up a perfect defense around the area. He Jingxian meant that once the wormhole opened, he would let the bodyguards push them all into the wormhole so that they would never be able to appear in this world again. Although their plan was a little stupid, it was indeed a good idea. At 2 o'clock in the afternoon, Chun Shanmei called everyone over. Luo Qingshun did not find her action strange at all, because she was the kind of person who liked to make a big fuss. Uncle Luo, Uncle Luo, Uncle Luo, Aunt Luo. Chun Shanmei looked at them with tears in her eyes and said, I've caused a lot of trouble these days. I'm really sorry. Have you really decided to go back? Although Father Luo did not like Chun Shanmei, she was still a junior in the eyes of the elders. Going through the wormhole was not an easy task. It was something that could cost one's life at any time. I've thought about it. Chun Shanmei nodded and said, I don't find any meaning in staying, so I'm going to leave. Hearing this, Luo Qingmu frowned slightly. There was a painful look in his eyes. After all, he wanted her to stay, but he did not have any right to make her stay. Qingmu, thank you. Chun Shanmei met his gaze and pursed her lips. She said, There's so many things that I need to thank you for. I don't even know where to start. It's okay. Luo Qingmu's voice was very low. It was as if his heart had fallen to the bottom. Chun Shanmei felt the phone in her pocket vibrate. Then, she looked at Luo Qingshun and said, Qingshun, let's start. At this moment, Luo Qingshun felt a little strange, because she was so pretentious and emotional, but she did not say goodbye to Lu Lingye. She was so competitive and possessive. How could she not say goodbye to Lu Lingye? Seeing Luo Qingshun frowning and not doing anything, Lu Lingye walked forward and touched his head gently. Let me do it. Luo Qingshun did not nod or shake his head. Lu Lingye activated his special ability, and the wormhole slowly opened. At this moment, the sky and earth changed color. The wind blew and the sky was covered by dark clouds. The wind that blew out of the wormhole was so strong that it almost blew people up. Luo Qingshun turned to look at Chun Shanmei. Quickly leave, otherwise you'll cause chaos in space and time. She had seen this kind of butterfly effect too many times, and she vaguely felt particularly uneasy. Luo Qingmu and Luo Qingmu, Luo Qingmu and Luo Qingmu Luo, Luo Qingmu, Luo Luo, and Luo Luo Luo, Luo, and Luo Luo Qingmu. In the blink of an eye, dozens of bodyguards appeared around them and pushed them into the wormhole. Luo, Luo, Ludo, Luo, 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 Luo. You're actually working with him. Luo Qingchen roared out. Are you crazy? Luo laughed in the wind. I'm not crazy. I'm different from you. I want to take him away. I want to protect him. Luo grabbed Lu Lingye's hand and ran towards the entrance of the wormhole. At this moment, Luo Qingchen grabbed Lu Lingye's other hand. She could feel that the closer they got to the wormhole, the more energy she had. Lu Lingye shook off Chun Shanmei's hand, but the three of them were pushed into the wormhole by the dozens of hands behind them. This book came from Chapter 3186. Wormhole, Wormhole, Wormhole. The reason why Father Luo did not stop them from going back was because going through the wormhole was extremely risky. His family had always decided that it did not matter where they lived anyway. They had gotten used to it after all these years. Instead of risking their lives to go through the wormhole, they might as well enjoy their old age in this space-time. It was not a bad thing. He liked this place very much. He could film the things he liked. As a small-time director, there were always people who liked his things. It was very nice. The wind was howling, and the surrounding wind was getting stronger. In a flash, it seemed like everyone was going to be pushed into the wormhole. Luo Qingmu's palm was like a thunderbolt. She shouted, I will go alone, brother. Luo Qingchen could feel that Luo Qingmu wanted to close the wormhole by herself, but he did not have enough energy. See, if you go back to Moon Soul, you will remember everything very quickly. Chen Shanmei grabbed his wrist tightly. She said with tears in her eyes, You are Si Yi. You are the real prince of Moon Soul. You are not Lu Lingye. Let go of me. Lu Lingye felt that his voice was trembling. He wanted to use his energy, but it was restricted by the suction force of the wormhole. He was helpless. He did not know what to do. Did he really have to go back? Would she be in danger? Would he never see her again? Seeing this, Luo Qingchen frowned. She could not let Luo Qingmu seal the wormhole. She could not let everyone take the risk. There had to be a way. There had to be another way. Push them all in. He Jingxian stood not far away. He looked ferocious like a demon. He was excited to do what he wanted to do. Just as Luo Qingmu was about to jump into the wormhole, Luo Qingchen let go of Lu Lingye and grabbed Luo Qingmu's hand. Brother, you can't go. What are you doing? Luo Qingmu seemed to have seen something in Luo Qingchen's eyes. She said hurriedly, No, I will think of a way to survive. Please help me take care of Zero Yi. Luo Qingchen grabbed Luo Qingmu's hand and said, Brother, I hope that you will be happy. Don't love her anymore. As soon as she finished speaking, she jumped into the wormhole without hesitation. At this moment, the exquisite ring on his right hand flashed with a golden light, emitting a dazzling light. The wormhole disappeared in the next second, and the dark clouds in the sky instantly opened up. Luo Qingchen only felt that everything around her had quieted down, and there seemed to be no sound in her ears. It was only when her vision was completely swallowed by darkness that she heard Lu Lingye's hoarse cry. Luo Qingchen. That shout caused her heart to feel an inexplicable pain. She seemed to have abandoned him. Ding! Affection has increased by 10. Mission completion rate is now 100%. Finally, she obtained the favorable impression points that she hadn't been able to obtain all this while. This was the first time she had come to the so-called wormhole. It was connected to every dimension, and when she saw some of the dimensions, she felt a sense of déjà vu. Or rather, she felt that this place was very similar to the chaos space, but there was no system. Who said that there was no system? You mean that I'm back? No. Does the host want to return to the original dimension? Yes. Then the host's experience points will be affected. As mentioned before, this is a very risky action. The experience points will be reduced by half. Is the host sure you want to do this? End of chapter. Chapter 3187. To be honest, this time Luo Qingchen had seriously considered the pros and cons. Although she had only thought about it for 3 seconds, she still decided to go back. If the bad guys weren't completely dealt with, then what was the point of coming to this world? Moreover, she was still worried about Lu Lingye. He Jingxian had something on them. He definitely wouldn't let Lu Lingye have an easy time in the entertainment industry. He wouldn't even let him have a foothold in the entertainment industry. If she didn't protect him, then what was the difference between her and the original owner? Host, are you sure? Yes, because the time in the wormhole is different from the time in this world. The next time the host arrives in this world will be 3 years later. Does the host understand? What? 3 years later? The system knows the host wants to go. Then sit tight and support him. In the next second, a powerful force tightly surrounded her. She only heard a fierce wind before she lost consciousness. To be honest, her system wasn't cute at times. It was probably because they had been together for a long time. Although it kept repeating the risks, she knew its personality too well. No matter what price she had to pay, she had to go back. When she opened her eyes again, the air was filled with the unique smell of the hospital. Luo Qingqian blinked and blinked again. She felt an inexplicable pain in her head. "Miss, you're awake?" The nurse came over and looked at her. "Do you feel any discomfort?" "Oh, I'm fine." Luo Qingqian rubbed her temples. "What's the date today?" The nurse was stunned. "December 3rd. Is it the year 3056? "Yes." Luo Qingqian was still complaining in her heart. What if the time of return was normal? Unfortunately, as the system said, 3 years had already passed in this world. 3 years could change a lot of things. Would Lu Lingye be bullied by He Jingxian? Would he be framed by Li Xiaoyu? Would he fall into the vortex of public opinion like before? But no one would help him. If she wanted to know what had happened in the past 3 years, she felt that she should go home first. Although 3 years had passed in a city, the city's appearance hadn't changed much. The villa was still in the busiest place, but the people living in it were no longer the Luo family. The moment Luo Qingqian knocked on the door, a housekeeper came out, looked at her, and asked, "Miss, are you here to visit? Do you have an appointment?" Luo Qingqian frowned slightly and asked, "Excuse me, is the owner of this villa still Mr. Luo Xiong? Are you looking for Mr. Luo Xiong?" Hearing Luo Xiong's name, the housekeeper's tone was obviously much better. He even said respectfully, "Mr. Luo Xiong sold this villa to our master 3 years ago. I'm afraid you're a little late." She also knew that it was a little late, but this was not something she could control. "I understand." Luo Qingqian nodded and said, "Then do you know where they moved to?" "I don't know." The butler smiled and said, "I'm sorry." "It's okay." Suddenly, Luo Qingqian felt that her leaving not only hurt Lu Lingye, but also hurt her parents who were already middle-aged. Because if it weren't for the sadness, her father wouldn't have sold the villa. The city was so big. Where could she find them? End of this chapter. Chapter 3188. Just as she was feeling a little confused, she caught sight of the words Salted Fish Internet Cafe on the opposite side of the street. Instead of asking people aimlessly, she decided to check Lu Lingye's situation in the past 3 years on the internet. Besides, Luo Qingmu had also entered the entertainment industry, so there should be some news about him. However, when she typed the words Lu Lingye in the search engine, a corrected entry appeared. Is the content you want to search for CE? CE? Why would the 2 words CE appear on the search engine? Had He Jingxian made public the fact that Lu Lingye and the Luo family had special abilities? Was that why Father Luo had to sell the villa and Lu Lingye had become CE? Luo Qingqian frowned and moved the mouse wheel gently. CE seemed to have filmed a lot of movies, and each of them was either a sci-fi or a disaster film. Was the development of things different from what she had imagined? According to the search engine, Lu Lingye should still be active in the public eye, and he was very popular, because now he was ranked first on the list of A-list male stars and had won the title of Best Actor. What had happened in the past 3 years? Why had Lu Lingye become CE? What about He Jingxian? If He Jingxian was also in the entertainment industry, he would not have watched Lu Lingye climb to such a high position. How could he not frame CE? Luo Qingqian was too lazy to guess. She typed the words He Jingxian in the search engine. However, the entry that appeared gave her a fright. Famous actor He Jingxian died unexpectedly in December 3053. The police ruled out homicide. He Jingxian died mysteriously. His whole body seemed to be frozen by ice, and he was struck by lightning. There was no one around the place where He Jingxian died 3 years ago. There was only a burnt USB flash drive. He died a tragic death. He Jingxian was dead? 3053 was the time when she sealed the wormhole. So He Jingxian had died not long after she left. Luo Qingchen found the photo of He Jingshuan's death on a relatively remote website. It looked very strange, as the report said. However, Luo Qingchen was very clear that it was definitely caused by a special ability. Ice and lightning. So it was Lu Lingye and Luo Qingmu. They killed He Jingxian. Sure enough, the internet was the best way to let her know what had happened in the past 3 years. It was no wonder that Lu Lingye's acting career had skyrocketed without any hindrance. It turned out that the biggest stumbling block had already died 3 years ago. Since He Jingxian was dead, what about Li Xiaoyu? Luo Qingchen was curious as she typed in Xiaoyu Li's name on the search engine. Sure enough, Li was no longer in the entertainment industry. The first article displayed on the search engine was, famous actor Li Xiaoyu suffered from severe depression and committed suicide in a mental hospital last March. The report described how Li Xiaoyu was in great pain before he died. He kept cutting his abdomen with a sharp knife. It was not tormenting her. She was tormenting Luo. Qingchen knew the answer after thinking for a while. He Jingshuan's death must have frightened Li Xiaoyu. After all, she knew a lot about the Luo family and Lu Lingye. The more outstanding a person was, the more afraid of death she was. The more she was afraid of death, the more fear would occupy her heart. That was how Li Xiaoyu was tortured to death by the fear in her heart. End of chapter. Chapter 3189. Seeing this, Luo Qingchen suddenly felt that even if she didn't come back, there didn't seem to be any bad people around Lu Lingye. He seemed to have changed. Even if she hadn't met him yet, she could feel it just by looking at his photos on the internet. Perhaps it was his gaze that was different. In the past, she always felt that Lu Lingye's gaze was warm. No matter what happened, as long as she looked into his beautiful eyes, she would feel a sense of security. But now, she felt that his gaze was filled with coldness. It was as if that pair of warm eyes was covered with a layer of ice, an impenetrable layer of ice. Luo Qingchen closed the web page and felt a strange feeling in her heart. At this moment, someone suddenly stood behind her. Ce is the nation's male god now. Many girls want to act with him, but were rejected. The next second, the owner of the internet cafe suddenly took out a flyer and said, "This is a good opportunity. Young lady, you're so good-looking. Why don't you give it a try?" Luo Qingchen was slightly taken aback. She took a look at the flyer and saw a few words written on it. Looking for the most beautiful Shuin. Who's Shuin? We don't even know Shuin. The owner explained. Shuin is the female lead in the most popular IP this year, You of the Republic of China. So Xing Chen's management company is planning to use auditions to find this female lead? Correct. The owner pointed at the man wearing a suit and a mask on the flyer and said, "The internet is abuzz right now. It said that the male lead in You of the Republic of China is the most popular CE. But Luo Qingchen took a few glances at the flyer and said, "The internet says that CE has never acted in romance movies. Why would he personally be the female lead?" Hey. The owner put his hands on his hips and immediately corrected her. Men who are abstinent also have physical needs and desires. Okay. Luo Qingchen blinked and said, "So where do I go to sign up?" "There's a huge registration counter in front of Xing Chen's company. You can just go there." Luo Qingchen nodded and said, "Thank you, boss." Hey, wait. The owner of the internet cafe suddenly called out to her, if you successfully become the most beautiful Shuin, remember the owner's kindness." Now, what do you mean? How about we do some publicity for our internet cafe? Puff. Sure enough, businessmen were businessmen. There was always a purpose behind their enthusiasm. Luo Qingchen thought that she was definitely not the first person to be fooled by the boss, and certainly not the last. All right. Luo Qingchen nodded and said, "I understand." When she left the internet cafe, she accidentally saw the boss holding the flyer to fool another person. Although he was only looking at her from afar, he could still feel that she was a beauty. Luo Qingchen suddenly felt that this boss was using a sledgehammer to crack a nut. She felt that he should be a talent scout. Since it was in the afternoon, when Luo Qingshun arrived at Star's company, there was already a long line at the entrance. It seemed like Lu Lingye was everywhere. Oh no, she should call him C now. C's fans were everywhere, and some of them even had C's profile pasted on their faces. There were many people at the scene, and it was practically a sea of people. Luo Qingshun was at the back of the line. Looking at the scene in front of her, she couldn't help but smile faintly. In the 3 years that she wasn't by his side, he took very good care of himself. Asterisk, 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 good night. Thank you to love, hate, Qingqiu, Xingxing, Lianyi, and little cutie Lulu for their gifts. In a chapter. Chapter 3190. In the conference room, Sisterly seemed to have said a lot, and Siyi looked a little absent-minded. There was a slight wind outside the window, and it seemed like it was going to snow. Are you listening to me? Sorry, Sisterly, what did you say just now? Siyi seemed to have thought of something and said, I don't act in romance movies. He didn't want to be in this position because he wanted to be famous. But to be able to stand at the top so that if she came back one day, he would definitely be able to find her. Sigh. Sisterly looked at his depressed expression and said, Ever since you changed your stage name from Lu Lingye to Siyi, your personality has changed a lot. Actually, it shouldn't be said a lot, but a lot. The original Lu Lingye was humble and kind. He had a friendly attitude towards everything and never troubled others. He was a gentle man who was like a spring breeze. But the current Siyi was cold and indifferent. His indifference was like a layer of ice. Whether it was his former friends or leaders, they couldn't melt the ice. Isn't this good? Siyi narrowed his eyes and said, Sisterly doesn't need to worry about me anymore. Indeed, she didn't need to worry about him, but after knowing him for so many years, she knew very well that he wasn't happy at all. Perhaps he already had a new definition of the word actor in his life. The U of the Republic of China is about to start filming. Because the model on the promotional poster looks too much like you, the internet is abuzz with rumors that you will act in it. Sisterly explained to him seriously, You have too many fans and popularity. The company is also under a lot of pressure now. I won't act in it, Siyi replied seriously. Sisterly, you know my personality. I definitely won't act in romance movies. Also, I'm not taking on this role to become famous or fulfill my dreams. Are you still waiting for her? I live to wait for her. If she really wasn't coming back, then she didn't need to torture herself and live in pain in this world. Sisterly sighed deeply and said, There are many outstanding people in the search for the most beautiful book audition this time. Are you really not going to take a look? Or you could be a guest. After all, so many people signed up because of Siye's popularity. If everyone knew that the male lead wasn't Siye before the election competition ended, then this so-called search for the most beautiful Shuin activity would definitely not be able to continue. Although Sisterly could understand his feelings, she was still the company's manager. The resources he gave Siye were unparalleled, and Siye didn't disappoint her. However, the matter with the U of the Republic of China was a little too big this time. If Star suddenly announced that Siye wasn't the male lead, they might not be able to control the pressure of public opinion. Sisterly, I would like to ask Luo Chimu to be a guest at the event. Siye glanced at the time and said, His popularity now is enough to support the scene. I have something to do, so I'll leave first. Elder Sisterly still wanted to say something, but when she saw his expression, she didn't say anything. It wasn't until Siye left the office that Sisley shook her head and said, Actually, I also hope that you can walk out of this as soon as possible. This is simply torturing yourself. Gymnasium. Siye asked Luo Qingmu out for a game of tennis, and the two of them decided to cancel everything today. The reason was simple. This was the day Luo Qingshun left 3 years ago. This book comes from Chapter 3191. Your tennis skills have deteriorated recently. Luo Qingmu glanced at him and said, You've been filming too much. I think you've deteriorated. Siye narrowed his eyes and hit one ball after another against the wall. Soon, beads of sweat appeared on his forehead. Today, Sisterly told me about finding the prettiest Shuin. You're really pushing it away. Luo Qingmu hit the tennis ball and said, Actually, I'm here today because Dad asked me to pass a message to you. Uncle, what's the matter? He stopped what he was doing and turned to look at him. Do you need help? He had great respect for Father Luo. As long as there was a need, he would do it without hesitation. He said, forget it. Luo Qingmu hit the tennis ball and said, it's been 3 years. It's time to forget. Entering the wormhole did not mean death. It was just infinitely close to death. His sister might have returned to Moon's soul, or she might have gone to another planet. There was no point in waiting aimlessly. I don't want to. Siyi replied to Luo Qingmu almost instantly. He increased the strength of his wrist and swung the tennis racket. She entered the wormhole. She sealed the entrance. She left him. Everything was his fault. If it wasn't for his cowardice and stupidity, she wouldn't have left him. Actually, on the day you tortured He Jingxian to death, I felt that you had changed. Luo Qingmu said softly. Maybe Qingchun didn't want to see you like this. If I was like this from the start, she wouldn't have left. Siyi narrowed his eyes and said, also, I spared that person's life because you're her brother. If not for Luo Qingmu, he would have killed Chun Shanmei long ago. He would not have held back at all. Maybe she wants to die even more now. Luo Qingmu sounded a little sad when she said this, but it was only sadness and not heartache. Memories of what happened 3 years ago surfaced in his mind. After He Jingxian died, Siyi went to look for Chun Shanmei. It was very dark that night. She wore a moon-white dress and waited for Siyi on the mountain. The message Chun Shanmei received showed that it was from Siyi. She was almost ecstatic, knowing that he had recovered his memory. The temperature on the mountain was not cold, but as Siyi walked up the mountain step by step, the temperature dropped bit by bit, until he stood not far away from Chun Shanmei. Snowflakes floated in the sky. She trembled slightly and excitedly rushed forward to hug him, but she was blocked by a layer of ice. Siyi didn't say a word. The water around them froze into ice and attacked the artery on Chun Shanmei's neck. He just wanted to kill her. He wanted to kill her at all costs. Chun Shanmei stood rooted to the ground. She looked at him in disbelief and said, why didn't you recover your memories? Yes, Moon's Soul Prince. Siyi raised his right hand, and the sharp icicle cut through Chun Shanmei's skin. So, I want her life. At this moment, the icicles attacked her body again, and the air was filled with the smell of blood. Unbeknownst to her, a bolt of lightning fell from the sky and shattered the icicle. Luo Qingmu panted heavily, sweat beading on her forehead. She bit her lip and looked at him. Can you spare her life? This book came from Chapter 3192. He knew that he had let Luo Qingchen down when he said those words. She was the one who had indirectly killed her sister. However, if he were to watch Chun Shanmei die, he would not be able to do it. Humans were always so contradictory, impossible. So he looked up and said also, Lu Lingye is dead. Since he's already dead, why do you still want to kill me? At this moment, what Chun Shanmei felt was not danger, but deep despair. She screamed at the top of her lungs, You are Siyi. You are that cold and heartless Siyi. I love Luo Qingchen more than my entire life. Siyi's gaze was cold as he said coldly, I want you to die with her. I will use my life in exchange for hers. Luo Qingmu raised her right hand, lightning crackling in her palm. She bit her lip and said, Let her go this time, I beg you. Little did she know that before Siyi could reply, Chun Shanmei started laughing maniacally. As she laughed, she muttered, Impossible. How is that possible? You will never love anyone. You will never love anyone. Chun Shanmei had always thought that the only person who liked Luo Qingchen was Lu Lingye. If he had recovered his original memories, he would not have liked her at all. Until the moment Lu Lingye really became Siyi, she realized that she had been wrong from the start. No matter if it was Lu Lingye or Siyi, the only person he loved was Luo Qingchen. She laughed. She laughed crazily on the snow-filled mountain, as if she had lost her mind. As Luo Qingmu stood in front of her, he did not kill her in the end. Countless icicles pierced into the snow, venting his deep hatred. This was the memory from 3 years ago. Later on, Chun Shanmei was admitted to the mental hospital like Li Xiaoyu. Her condition has not been good for the past few days. The doctor said that she will not make it through this winter. Luo Qingmu's gaze was deep, But when she said this, she sounded very calm. Si did not speak, but continued to play badminton. Luo Qingmu continued. Do you remember that night 3 years ago, the last thing you said to me on the mountain? That sentence was like a nightmare that often rang in his ears during these 3 years. I remember. Si raised an eyebrow. You remember too? Of course I do. Luo Qingmu narrowed her eyes and said, Do you still think so? In the next second, Si answered Luo Qingmu without hesitation. His lips curled into a mocking smile as he said, Yes, I still think so. On that day 3 years ago, the words he had said to him were, Luo Qingmu, you don't deserve to be her brother. Hey, that's too much. Luo Qingmu shrugged her shoulders and continued to play. Can't you just lie to me? I've never lied about her. Si placed the racket into the basket at the side and looked at the tennis balls all over the ground. Let's end it here today. Remember Sister Lee's matter. Don't make things difficult for her. You're really a hands-off boss. Luo Qingmu shrugged and said, You're not responsible at all. It's only right that you treat me well. As he walked out of the room, he did not forget to add, This is what you owe your sister. Oh, actually, he also owed her a lot, but perhaps he would never have the chance to make it up to her. This book came from Chapter 3193. The search for the most beautiful book event was in full swing. Luo Qingshun felt that this competition was really fierce, okay? Actually, even if she didn't choose any book, she definitely had to pass the audition, because only by passing the audition could she show her face on TV. She might even meet CE backstage. In that case, the chances of meeting him would be much higher. The audition wasn't difficult. It basically depended on one's looks. After all, the title was the most beautiful book, so she had to be good-looking. Luo Qingshun wasn't that narcissistic. She thought that she was the most good-looking among all the contestants, but there were still a few in the top. After the audition, Luo Qingshun and the remaining people went through several rounds of selection. There were a total of 7 people who entered the final round. These 7 people would participate in the finals of Search for the Most Beautiful Book on Saturday night. In the dressing room, everyone was making their final preparations. Although everyone had a smile on their faces, they were all on guard in their hearts. After all, everyone was in a competitive relationship. It was normal to be on guard. However, some things were a little awkward when said out loud. Actually, you don't have to be so silent, because the result is already very obvious. The woman sitting in the middle of the big mirror, Gu Shui, said while touching up her makeup, You know this industry, right? You have to have a backer to have the ability to be the champion. Another person, Chun Yu, who was wearing a blue denim skirt, retorted, We know that you're a relative of the production team, but you don't have to speak like that. AI, how can I speak like that? Gu Shui sneered and said, I saw that the atmosphere was so solemn. Is it my fault that I wanted to adjust the atmosphere? We don't need you to adjust the atmosphere. Another girl with a princess hairstyle said, Moreover, the competition has reached this stage. Everyone should have gotten the inside news. Even if you get the champion of Search for the Most Beautiful Book, the person you're going to act with is not CE. Although many things could be kept quiet or delayed in the entertainment industry, paper can't wrap fire. Even if netizens thought that the male lead of the U of the Republic of China was played by CE, after a long time, there was no news at all from Xingchen. Everyone quickly knew that it was fake. Luo Qingshun also knew about it, but since she had already come this far, it would be a waste of her efforts if she didn't appear on TV at least once. Even so, I'm still a champion. People like you won't be able to achieve anything just by relying on your looks. In this circle, you still need to experience more to discover the essence. Gu Shui said sarcastically, If you don't believe me, just wait and see tomorrow night. Actually, there's nothing special about it. Chen Yu continued to refute. Previously, many people who were more powerful than us directly withdrew from the competition because the male lead was not CE. Only you treated it as a treasure. Do you know who the real male lead of you in the Republic of China is? The girl with the princess hairstyle immediately replied, I know. That C-list celebrity, Wang Zishan. She wasn't bad-looking, but she was still a far cry from CE. In addition, Her acting skills were also rather clumsy. Gu Shui seemed to be angry out of humiliation. She stood up and said angrily, "So what? Didn't you stay to fight for the last chance? What are you pretending for?" Luo Qingshun felt that a fight was about to break out in the lounge. She hurriedly stepped forward and stopped them. "Don't quarrel, don't quarrel. I used to be a celebrity's assistant in the entertainment industry. There were many opportunities. If you guys fight here, I'm afraid your reputation will be ruined." This book came from Chapter 3194. TSK. Who wants to argue with this kind of person? Chinyu shrugged and went back to her makeup mirror to make the final makeup adjustments. She was actually still very angry. She worked so hard to get to this position in the finals, but Gu Shui could be the champion so easily. However, this person still pretended to be obedient after getting the advantage and put on a particularly arrogant look in front of her. Gu Shui rolled her eyes at her, then continued to put on makeup with a smug face. After a while, the person in charge of the program knocked on the door and came in. "Everyone stop what you are doing and listen to me." Because the program group announced that the male lead is Wang Zishan on the official website an hour ago, Weibo has exploded. The fans are more irrational. The fans are irrational and are looking for Wang Zishan. Gu Shui glanced at the person in charge and said, "Would they look for us? After all, this is a program. We did use the name of CE to get a lot of resources and attention." The person in charge said helplessly, "But a fake will always be fake. It can't become real." When she heard this sentence, Luo Qingshun felt a little disappointed. If he didn't even come to the scene, how could she meet him? If she directly asked the person in charge to take her to CE, he would definitely think that her brain was broken. This was truly a vexing matter. Without CE, the ratings of this program should be very low. Qin Yu's mouth outlined a mocking smile and said, "Even if some people win the championship with small tricks, it doesn't seem to be of any use." Gu Shui heard this and said angrily, "What do you mean, Qin Yu? I don't like to talk to you, but you're taking advantage of my face?" The next second, the person in charge said seriously, "What are you arguing about? The competition hasn't started yet. It's still unknown who the champion is. Don't argue. In fact, it's not that there's no good news." The girl with the princess hairstyle's eyes lit up and said, "Can I ask what the good news is?" Although CE didn't come to the scene, another popular male star will come. The person in charge raised his eyebrows and said, "He's playing the male lead of Mu Shui Feng, Luo Qingmu." "What?" Luo Qingshun was shocked and her eyebrows trembled. "You mean Luo Qingmu?" "Yeah." The director glanced at the name tag on her waist and said, "Although your name is only one word different from his, the difference in popularity is like heaven and earth." "Wow." The girl with the princess hairstyle said, "I really, really like Luo Qingmu. Will he be starring in You of the Republic of China this time?" "Not at the moment, but if you perform well enough to get Luo Qingmu to act in the movie, it will be a great thing for the producers." The person in charge looked at them and said, "In short, everyone must perform well tonight and let everyone see the most beautiful Shuin." After the person in charge finished speaking, Luo Qingshun took the opportunity to open Weibo to take a look. The top trending topics were all about CE, who didn't act in the You of the Republic of China. The comments below were also full of scolding. "Evening breeze. Are you kidding me? Using our size gimmick to increase the popularity of the talent show? It was disgusting, all right? Dreamy Peach Blossom. I just want to know who Wang Zishan is. Did he think that he was a prince just because he was called Wangzi? C's little sweetheart. I've been finding the most beautiful Shuin since the beginning. The production team is really disappointing. Cool Breeze's letter. Actually, I'm glad. Don't tell me you guys want CE to act in a romance movie." End of chapter. Chapter 3195. In the comments, other than one or two who were more optimistic, everyone was attacking You of the Republic of China. Not only did the keyboard warriors on the internet not let Wang Zishan off, but they also didn't let the selected authors and authors off. No wonder the person in charge wanted to look for them before the show started. He wanted to give them a shot of confidence. It wouldn't be good if the audience scolded them for being fragile. Luo Qingshun, on the other hand, was very happy. Although she couldn't see Yi this time, she could see her brother. In these 3 years, he should have walked out of Chun Shanmei's feelings. 15 minutes before the start of the competition, everyone entered the final stage of preparation. She had also worked overtime for the past 2 days to finish reading you in the Republic of China. Shuin's character was gentle yet strong. If she had to compare it with her own personality, it could only be described with 4 words: heaven and earth. However, she was still very good at acting. As long as she could figure out the character's thoughts and personality, she could completely act out her character. Standing on both sides of the stage, she narrowed her eyes and saw Luo Qingmu, who was sitting in the guest seats. He was wearing a navy blue suit and gold-rimmed glasses. He took a quick look at the program list and put it back. However, 2 seconds later, he frowned slightly. He felt that something was wrong and picked up the program list again. In the next second, his beautiful eyes widened slightly and his slender fingers couldn't help but tremble slightly. Luo Qingshun, Luo Qingshun, Luo Qingshun. Such a special name. It shouldn't be someone with the same name. Could it be that his sister was back? Just as he was about to get up and head backstage, the lights in the venue lit up. The host picked up the microphone and said, "Welcome everyone to the live broadcast of Search for the Prettiest Shuin. First of all, let us warmly welcome this time's heavyweight guest, Mr. Luo Qingmu." Luo Qingmu's eyes flickered as he looked around. Then he slowly got up and bowed. And our energetic Wang Zishan. The host didn't explicitly mention Wang Zishan's role. After all, with the current public opinion, if he were to directly mention the male lead, tonight's Finding the Most Beautiful Shuin program might not be able to continue recording. Next, let us welcome the author and director of You of the Republic of China. In the first 5 minutes, the host introduced the guests who came to the scene step by step. After all the introductions, the show officially entered the performance segment. The first to perform was Gu Shui. There was no change in her eyes. She had a bitter face and wanted to cry, but she couldn't. Luo Qingshun shook her head and thought, if this guy wins the championship, Weibo will probably be paralyzed again tonight. At the end of the performance, there was a small round of applause. Chunyu, who was standing next to Luo Qingshun, couldn't help but hold her stomach as she laughed. This is called a performance? Is this worthy of winning the championship? Gu Shui seemed to have heard Chunyu's mocking voice. She glared at her angrily and then walked off the stage angrily. Next, let's welcome the second actress of Shuin, Chunyu. Melodious classical music sounded, and the atmosphere at the scene was particularly good. Although Chunyu wasn't a professional actress, if she were to compare her performance with Gu Shui's, it was obvious that Chunyu acted better. But the strange thing was, after Chunyu's performance, the total score of the live voting wasn't as high as Gu Shui's. End of chapter. Chapter 3196. Seeing such a scene, Luo Qingshun sneered in her heart and muttered, "Are these live audience members blind? They must be hired audience members." The difference in ability was huge. Although she didn't know Gu Shui and Chunyu, since it was a competition, it had to be fair. This kind of score, isn't it a little too fake? Next was the judges' simple comments. Everyone's words were similar to what they said to Gu Shui. Only Luo Qingmu, who didn't speak in the previous performance, picked up the microphone and said, "Not bad." Gu Shui, who was standing backstage, stomped her feet angrily. Her expression was very ugly. The host was a little embarrassed. After all, the score was there. But Luo Qingmu's comments were different, so it was inevitable that people would feel awkward. But the hosts who were able to broadcast were all experienced hosts. They reacted quickly and said, "Next Shuin, Luo Qingshun." The moment she stepped onto the stage and met Luo Qingmu's eyes, she could clearly feel that Luo Qingmu was completely stunned. Even the pen in her hand slipped onto the table. Luo Qingshun's eyes trembled slightly. The moment the stage darkened, her eyes turned red. "I want to become you. I want to see what you see and love what you love." 20-year-old Shuin. He went to the battlefield and said he would definitely come. She said, "I'll wait." 1 year, 2 years, 10 years, 20 years. He never came back. Bones were scattered in the distance. The ground was covered in dust. At that time, We were always too early or too late to express our love. 80-year-old Shuin. Luo Qingxin's performance was the most difficult part of you in the Republic of China. She went from 20 years old to 80 years old in the blink of an eye. Actually, she didn't deliberately choose the most difficult script to perform. It was the last script that was left. Shuin had many stages, and each stage had a different personality. She acted as a manager. Luo Qingxin knew that this was a test of an actor's ability. After the performance, the whole place was silent. Luo Qingxin bowed and fixed her gaze on Luo Qingmu. He seemed to be holding his phone, and his hands were trembling as he sent a message to someone. She thought, it should be him. A few seconds later, the audience applauded. This time, the applause was no longer bustling, but thunderous. Thank you very much for Qingxin's performance. Now let's take a look at the score. Ding, ding, ding. After 3 beeps, the big screen showed 95 points, just 1 point behind Gu Shui, who had 96 points. The host said in a regretful tone, what a pity. What a pity. It's only 1 point away. The supporter said, we still have to thank Qingxin. Let's take a break next to Qingxin. Luo Qingxin nodded and walked backstage. After taking 2 steps, the lights in the hall dimmed. At this moment, Luo Qingxin felt her back suddenly stiffen, and her heart was beating uncontrollably. Why? Why was she so nervous? She was so nervous that she didn't even dare to turn her head. Miss Shuin, I still like you a lot. Like the clouds drifting for 90,000 miles without stopping. This was the sentence that the male lead, Lu Sheng, said to the female lead, Shuin, in You in the Republic of China. This was a scene where he confessed to her. The voice of the person who said this sentence was so familiar. End of chapter. Chapter 3197. It's him. It's him. It's him. It must be him. It can't be wrong. Luo Qingxin closed her eyes and took a deep breath. Can I wait a little longer? I want to work hard to become better, then meet you and hug you again. I've waited for 3 years. I don't want to wait anymore. In the next second, the darkened stage lit up. Ci ran towards her recklessly. It wasn't until the moment she hugged him that his entire body relaxed. No one could understand how he felt. When he received Luo Qingmu's message, he ran towards her without a care for his life. He even used his special ability to create a river so that he could pass through it. He knew he couldn't do that, but he couldn't wait any longer. No one would understand that kind of eagerness if they didn't experience it for themselves. She didn't know if it was because the music was too touching or because the long-awaited hug was too warm. She didn't want to cry, but her tears fell uncontrollably like pearls from a broken necklace. This was a live broadcast, and there were so many people present. She shouldn't cry. You don't have to wait anymore. Luo Qingxin closed her eyes and said, I'll always be by your side. Qingxin, call my name once. Call, Luling. Luo Qingxin turned around and looked at him. You'll always be Luling. That kind, gentle, humble, and self-disciplined man. No. He shook his head and said, Luling is too stupid. He didn't know how to protect you, and he lost you. So, I want to say goodbye to him too. I hate him too. Everyone present was shocked by this scene, but they didn't know what was going on. Only Luo Qingmu, a man who carried the burden of being an idol, was crying bitterly. He covered his face and cried so sadly. However, he regretted it later because many people used his photo as a meme, and it became a popular meme. That night, all social media platforms were paralyzed. Luo Qingxin and Ci ran to the mountains to see the snow. The light snowflakes fell on her palm, giving her a sense of security. Why didn't you come directly to me? Why did you come to participate in some talent show? How can I contact you directly? Luo Qingxin leaned on his shoulder and said, You're not a C-list celebrity anymore. I'm glad that my efforts have finally paid off. Ci gently stroked her head and said, In the most dazzling position, you can find me immediately. But you're so popular now. Didn't a lot of people see our bitter drama just now? Of course. Ci seemed to have thought of something and said softly, That's true feelings, not a bitter drama. But how did you know I would come back? What if he can't come back? He was stunned for a moment. After a long time, He looked to the side and approached her seriously, kissing her lips gently. For a long, long time, she tossed and turned in bed. He said, "I will always wait until the day I die." Some people were born to be paranoid. She thought that Lulinya wasn't like that, but in fact, she was Siyi. Ding ding. In the next second, a text message rang. It was from Luo Qingmu. Siyi took out his phone and glanced at it. His eyes were indifferent, and no one could tell what he was thinking. "It's a text from your brother. Did something happen?" He lifted his right hand and smiled faintly. He stroked her head and said, "It's nothing." That night, it snowed heavily on the mountains. It was very, very beautiful. The content of the text message was actually, "Chen Shanmei is dead. Don't tell Qingchen. I want to be a brother worthy of her. Luo Qingmu." And asterisk, 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 end of scattering flowers. Degree asterisk, backslash, /$ star, degree star. Scattering flowers. End of chapter. Chapter 3198. Zheng Jinghong glanced at her, and it was deeply engraved in his heart and bones. He looked forward to meeting her again. "Luling, in the moment we meet, when you stand in the crowd, I can find you at a glance. Please wait for me to walk towards you." See, Yemi life's dream was to become an actor before I met her. After I met her, I wanted to become someone who could protect her. In my eyes, Luling yet didn't deserve to protect her, just like how I always thought that Luo Qingmu didn't deserve to be her brother. I seem to have forgotten the first time we met. At my house, she pressed the doorbell, and I opened the door for her. We flirted a little, and she called me boss. Because my previous assistant betrayed me for some reason, I especially cherished the fact that she became my assistant after that. He had a feeling in his heart that he had picked up a treasure. She was very smart, as if she could see through everything with just a glance. I didn't have any guard against Lan Che. I also never thought that someone who usually called me brother would actually want to harm me. Fortunately, she saw through everything. Not only did she help me get rid of Lan Che, but she also left behind evidence that would make it impossible for him to return to the entertainment industry. But that day, I met the person I shouldn't have met the most, Chen Shanmei. In my eyes, the two words Shanmei should mean that she was kind and beautiful, but Chen Shanmei gave me a completely different feeling. She had a very strong feeling, as if I could feel her strength when I looked in her eyes. Most importantly, she said that she knew me. She also told me that my name wasn't Lu Lingye, but Siyi. Actually, from that day onwards, I hated the two words Siyi. I felt that it was this so-called Siyi that caused me to lose her completely. She said, "Boss, I will protect you." She really did it. From God of Light to Styx, she calculated everything very clearly. No matter what difficulties we encountered, she always found a way to deal with them. I didn't regret not being able to act in God of Light at all, because the moment I held her hand, I felt so proud. At that moment, I even felt that Li Xiaoyu gave people a feeling of inferiority. I had someone I liked, but what did it have to do with those people? When they wantonly reported on other people's private lives, did they ever think that this was the most immoral kind of intrusion? I know the entertainment industry is very complicated, but I have never needed to hide my love. If God closed a door in my life, He opened a window for me. Styx is my window. I like this fantasy film very much. I always thought that it would be a success. The director said not to bring an assistant, so I won't bring an assistant to the set. So I did my best to cooperate, but I never thought that Jing Xian would still win. That night, I was very disappointed. The reason why I was disappointed wasn't because Styx couldn't be broadcast, but because I felt that I had disappointed her. She tried so hard to get me to play the role, but I disappointed her. But even in such an awkward situation, she still thought of a solution. And this solution made Styx burn in my life once more. Chen Shanmei was right. I have a special ability. I have the energy that originally belonged to me. But even so, I still hated the identity of Siyi. I didn't want to return to Lunar Soul Planet, much less become a prince. This book comes from Chapter 3199. But before I could completely reject her, Chen Shanmei had already done something that made me extremely disgusted. I would never forget that day. The sky was covered with dark clouds, lightning flashed, and thunder roared. At that moment, when she let go of my hand, I was in despair. Countless memories rolled around in my mind, piecing themselves together bit by bit. I seemed to have regained my memories, but I seemed to have lost her. When the wormholes in trance gradually shrank, the world returned to normal. I stood there in a daze, unwilling to believe what had happened. I wanted someone to save me. I wanted someone to tell me that nothing had happened. I wanted to see her again. It seemed to be snowing. I seemed to be crying. I had never cried before. No matter what happened, I told myself that it was no big deal. But at that moment, other than despair, there was a deep fear. Memories surfaced in front of me. I seemed to know who CE was. I seemed to know my identity on that planet. But no matter what my identity was, that woman, what right did she have to decide everything for me? What right did she have to make me lose her? And He Jingxian, he had framed me time and time again. I had never thought of taking revenge on him. In my eyes, the entertainment industry was filled with schemes. If I took revenge on everyone who framed me, wouldn't it be too tiring to live? I really wanted to live a simple life, to film well, and to be with her. This simplicity had nothing to do with kindness. I just wanted to live a simple life. But after she left, I realized that I had made a huge mistake. In this industry, once someone framed you, if you didn't kill them, then there would be endless trouble. If I had killed He Jingxian earlier, if I had killed Qin Shanmei earlier, none of this would have happened. Because of my cowardice and stupidity, I had lost her. So regardless of whether she would come back or not, I didn't plan to let them live in this world anymore. Unfortunately, Luo Qingmu only had the same idea as me to kill He Jingxian. When she was trying to kill Qin Shanmei, he stood in front of her. Qin Shanmei always thought that I would recognize her after I regained my memories, or that I would no longer love Luo Qingxian. I didn't know if she was too naive or too stupid. No matter if I was Luo Qingxian or CE, the only person I loved would always be Luo Qingxian. Never change, but the wait was long. That long period of time was like the torture of a slow-acting poison. It corroded my internal organs, but I could do nothing but wait numbly. Luo Qingmu told me that her father told me not to wait any longer. Let bygones be bygones. Time will eventually fade away. However, there were some things that had long been imprinted in the bottom of his heart and could never be erased. I love everything. No matter how many years pass, I will never forget. I will not like anyone, and I will stubbornly wait. Until the seas dried up and the rocks crumbled. Until the seas turned into mulberry fields. Don't ask for the date of return. Don't ask for the reason. Use all your strength for the rest of your life. Fortunately, she came back 3 years later. I will never forget that day. When Luo Qingmu sent me a message, my hands were shaking. He said she's back. I know he wouldn't have said that to me if he wasn't so sure. The starry sky that day was so beautiful. I shuttled back and forth on the way to the filming location like a madman. Then he met her, hugged her tightly, and told her he loved her so much. Ding! Congratulations on bringing a soul fragment into the lead God Space 47/100. This book comes from Chapter 3200. As for the subsequent story, due to Si Ye's appearance, the male lead of the U of the Republic of China was eventually Si Yi. In that case, the female lead naturally couldn't be anyone else. Thus, whether it was Gu Shui or Gu Feng, who had been predetermined to be the prettiest Shuin, there was no meaning to it. With one sentence from Si Yi, the female lead was Luo Qingxian. No one dared to fight for it. The first thing he did when he took over the U of the Republic of China was to change the script because he felt that the original story of the male and female leads was too tragic. It had to be changed. It had to be changed. In the end, the original tragic drama, the U of the Republic of China, was forcefully changed by Si Yi into a very romantic romance drama. There were all kinds of kissing scenes in the drama. There were even 2 bed scenes. One day, Luo Qingxian held the female lead's script and questioned him. Ahem, male lead Darren, may I ask if your changes to the script are too romantic? Si raised his eyebrows slightly. His gaze was still on the script. He took a sip of coffee and said lightly, I specially changed the script for you. Are you not satisfied? Luo Qingxian blinked and touched her red ears. Of course, it's all right. What was there to be satisfied about? The current CE was completely different from before. He was no longer that gentle young man. Instead, he had become a domineering and dictatorial national Prince Charming. Yes, that's good. Sia's lips curled into a smile. He held her waist and said, I think we should extend tonight's kissing scene. Longer? Luo Qingshan frowned slightly and said, I don't think there's a need. But the fans like it. Why do the fans like it? Didn't you see the trending topics on Weibo yesterday? Si unlocked his phone and took a screenshot. I'm responding to the fans' request. Luo Qingshan took a look at the phone, and a puzzled look flashed across her eyes. However, when she saw the photo, she roughly understood. Hashtag begging Lu Sheng to kiss Shuyin. Hashtag begging for a kiss scene in the U of the Republic of China. Hashtag I want to see a tacky kiss scene. Hashtag. Luo Qingshan wanted to say something, but she couldn't say a word. She had to stretch her waist and said, I can't win against you. I will call my brother. Today is his birthday. Okay. Sia's brows moved slightly. Happy birthday to him. Luo Qingshan rolled her eyes and said, what a perfunctory happy birthday. Beep, 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 beep. Hello. A sweet voice sounded. Stunned, Luo Qingshan asked, is Luo Qingmu here? He's filming an underwater scene. The sweet female voice said, I'll pass on the message for you later. Oh, Luo Qingshan suddenly understood and said, No need. We're not familiar with each other. As soon as she finished speaking, she hung up and a faint smile appeared on her face. Her brother seemed to finally have a story. This time, the story would definitely be very beautiful. The following is a summary of the data for this mission. Please read it carefully. Name, Luo Qingshan Plain Space. Boss, I will protect you. Mission completion rate, 100% experience points. 3,500/10,000. 3,000 points deducted for returning to the plane space in time. There are currently 5 items in the portable space. April 5th Exquisite Ring. 9-section Moon Whip. Fengwu Sword. All-purpose medicine box. Permanent ability. Time freeze level 6 permanent ability. Teleportation level 5 permanent ability. Telekinesis level 1 exchange points. 5,500 base points. 40 host 48th mission panel is below. Appearance. 96 out of 100 physical strength. 95 out of 100 intelligence. 100 out of 100 figure. 90 out of 100 in the next second. The bronze mirror showed a new page. Mission grade experience gained. 500 female lead. Luo Qingshan male lead. Su Shiguan supporting female lead. Lin Nitron supporting male lead. Yin Shu's mission content. Return to the time before the original owner died and obtain the love of the male lead. This book came from Chapter 3201. After receiving the memories, she thought that she wouldn't feel that suffocating heartache after experiencing so many worlds. But this time, the piercing pain from the depths of her heart was so obvious. The original owner's story was very long. It was so long that it spanned her youth and time. The original owner's family was very well off. Although she wasn't a rich family's daughter, she didn't have to worry about food and clothing. She could also afford things that others could afford. Her parents doted on her very much, but she was indeed someone who deserved to be doted on, because she was outstanding. Outstanding enough. But the more outstanding a person was, the easier it was for them to fall into unfamiliar territory. For example, love. In her 3rd year of high school, the original owner transferred from a city to S-City's Key High School in order to better enter a famous medical school in the country. That year, she met the man she loved the most in her life, the man she loved the most until her death, Yin Shuze. The first time they met, the two of them seemed to be deeply attracted to each other. It was love at first sight, something that she had never believed in since she was young. But such a thing had happened in her life. The original owner and Yin Shuze fell in love very quickly. Yin Shuze had always been very famous in school. Not only was he handsome, but he was also very good at his studies. Actually, if Yin Shuze was a jerk, she wouldn't feel that this story made her heart ache. The scary thing was, he was sincere to the original owner, but he had an ex before. That girl was 7 years older than him. 2 years ago, he got together with her without hesitation. This person was the female supporting lead on the bronze panel, Lin Nichuan. She was a music teacher, and a very beautiful one at that. She looked very attractive and had a hint of sex appeal. 2 years ago, Yin Shuze participated in a charity event and happened to meet Lin Nichuan, who was also participating in the event. She was wearing a white dress and playing the piano for the children in front of an old piano. The scene was very beautiful, but Yin Shuze wasn't too moved at that time. Instead, the hearts of the surrounding students were racing. They were eager to get Lin Nichuan's phone number. At that time, the boys were at most 16 or 17 years old. Although everyone had feelings of admiration, they didn't show it on the surface. At this time, they needed a scapegoat. Yin Shuze became the person who asked for Lin Nichuan's number. Unexpectedly, Lin Nichuan flirted with Yin Shuze and told him that she thought he was very good-looking and outstanding. The 17-year-old Yin Shuze felt an indescribable sense of superiority when the goddess, in everyone's eyes, took a fancy to him. At that time, his youth was filled with pride and vigor. It seemed that the love of a goddess could bring him a lot of satisfaction. Perhaps Yin Shuze didn't love Lin Nichuan, but he promised her and got together with her. However, the good times did not last long. Within a year, Yin Shuze discovered that Lin Nichuan had a new lover. The reason was simple. She had a lot of luxury goods in her personal belongings. From small lipsticks to large Louis Vuitton bags, there were suddenly a lot of them. Yin Shuze questioned her, and she admitted it. At the age of 25, she wanted more things that people her age wanted, but Yin Shuze couldn't give it to her. She had a new lover, the lover of the CEO of a multinational corporation. The CEO was about 40 years old. He had a wife and 2 children. She was just a lover, but she was willing. This book comes from Chapter 3202. After Lin Nichuan got together with that rich CEO, she abandoned Yin Shuze. That was their first time together. When he got together with Lin Nichuan, Yin Shuze wasn't the one who was moved first, although he did give his true feelings. But no man could accept cheating, and Yin Shuze wasn't the kind of man who would pester her. Although he was sad for a while at first, he gradually got over it. After all, he was good-looking and outstanding enough. There would always be girls around him. The road ahead was long. Even without Lin Nichuan, he would still meet other girls. For example, the original owner. When she was 18 years old, the original owner was accepted into a famous medical school because of her high grades. Her specialty was neurosurgery. Anyone who could use a scalpel was a hero. Girls who could use a scalpel were heroes among heroes. The original owner and Yin Shuze fell in love at first sight. The two of them received many blessings when they were together. For example, the original owner's best friends and Yin Shuze's brothers. The original owner had a very good friend called Xiaomo. She was a Jeet Kune Do expert. She always had neat short hair and was very youthful. Yin Shuze had a brother called Lin Hui. He liked Xiaomo very much. He liked her from the first time he saw her. The original owner's story had a lot to do with the two of them. Because she didn't save anyone in this life, she harmed too many people. Although it was a medical school, the school was well-rounded. The music classes in the medical school were to let the nervous students feel more relaxed. This way, they could devote themselves to the medical profession. But unexpectedly, a new music teacher transferred to the medical school in the second semester. It was none other than Lin Nichuan. Lin Nichuan's appearance wasn't accidental. She did it on purpose. The CEO of a multinational company made a mistake in a major business project, causing the company to go bankrupt. In order to avoid debt, he could only escape overseas. Husband and wife were birds in the same forest. When disaster struck, they would fly separately. Moreover, Lin Nichuan was just his lover. Naturally, he would abandon her. Once a person experienced a bad experience, they would think of their happiness in the past. Lin Nichuan suddenly realized that the person who treated her the best in the world was still Yin Shuze. Hence, after asking around, she found out that he was close to the medical school and applied to be a music teacher. The original owner knew this person, but she never took it to heart. Usually, people with high IQ didn't have high EQ. But on the other hand, it was also because she trusted Yin Shuze enough. After all, both of them treated each other sincerely. Everyone had their own past, so there was no need to harp on it. However, Just because the original owner was kind, it didn't mean that everyone in this world was kind. Lin Nichuan had a motive for getting close to Yin Shi's. She had already thought of how to get together with him. Moreover, when she saw how close the original owner and Yin Shi's were, her jealousy was driving her crazy. That day, the previous owner would never forget that day. After a heavy rain, Lin Nichuan called Yin Shi's from the bar and told him that she was leaving this world. In the end, Yin Shi still went to the bar to look for her out of worry. He didn't expect that after drinking a cup of wine, his consciousness would gradually become blurry and he would eventually lose consciousness. When he woke up the next morning, he found himself sleeping on the same bed as Lin Nichuan, completely naked. Lin Nichuan lowered her head shyly and said resentfully, "Last night, you seemed to have drunk too much."